a sacrifice induced for the altar of your vanity. A jealous, hungry God, craving praises of profanity. With bedroom dark and dine, and a deep mouth stained with wine, it drinks its fill. It was your mothers, not your brothers, that agreed to feed you poison. This egregious lack of choice indeed seemed fit to join your voice in, with lies disguised as prizes of reason and wisdom, with briberies of finery to weaken any criticism. Can the fly invade the blossom that devours it? A mouth that lies in wait for a gift of life to shower it.
Okay, well, we are on session 77. Quick recap of last game. You guys, essentially the most important part, you met up with Camillus and he had a conversation with you. And when we ended the last session, the Lasombra Marcus, or sorry, Hector Marcellinus had put out the word that he needed to talk to you guys at the Elysian Fields bathhouse, as that's widely considered safe and neutral territory.
Well, we best not keep them waiting.
Indeed.
Okay, well, Hector, as you may recall, is a man of average size. Got ropey muscle across his chest and arms. He's got essentially kind of a 5 o'clock shadow on his face at all times. He happens to be waiting on you in the bathhouse. He is bathhouse. There we go. Yes, he is chilling in one of the private rooms. There's not too much going on in there. He doesn't have any servants with him. He's not even drinking anything. He's literally just sitting there and thinking. When you guys come in. Has everybody come in to see him?
And hope you know you.
What's the situation with Tiberius Gracchus currently?
Currently, he is in a stalemate with the Mortal Senate. He is vetoing every single thing that they try to do, which includes daily business of Rome.
Does it seem like there is any unrest among the ranks of his followers?
No, his followers are 100% behind him.
No, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Is there a sort of agitation heralding a possible conflict with the other side?
Well, Tiberius is very aware of the assassination possibility, and he is in fact in secret going about armored and armed. So he is aware that there very well could be attempts on his life, even though his person is supposed to be considered sacrosanct, so long as he holds the office.
When we last approached his household, were we intercepted by the enemy coterie?
No, you were not.
Does it seem like it's holding effect presently?
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
I was wondering whether it remains the case. The last time we've been there it was during the announcement. I assume no. When we're coming to check it, what they weren't interposing.
Correct. They have not attempted to interfere with your business again.
Have we heard about their activities in between those two events, the invitation and the?
As far as you know, they've been extremely quiet. If they are doing something, it is very quiet and behind the scenes.
So what I don't like about this situation is this: we're going on a meeting with one of them, and all of us, whereas all the others are, well, out in the field. What does this say? Maybe we shouldn't all be coming. Maybe someone should still have eyes on Gracchus' household.
Labiana and Albina.
Yeah, I was gonna say perhaps Vienna should be one of those. You know, she hasn't been directly involved in any of that anyways, so makes sense.
Could appear as an outsider. Could avoid attracting attention to themselves.
I'm not even sure where did they ever see you two being involved with us on this case?
They might have seen Albina, but definitely not Labiana.
I'm the one they don't know about,
They might have
that I
intelligence.
know of.
It is no secret that we are working together.
Yeah.
So even if they have not seen us, they would know that we are associated with each other.
Any long timer can do it in the city, when asked, would probably say that you are all a coterie. So we can assume that the existence of Albina and Labiana is not a mystery to them.
Right. I don't like the fact that we're meeting one of them, and perhaps the man's face will be telling when he doesn't see all of us.
Aren't we meeting the leader of them?
I don't know, who are we meeting? Just
I
one of
think-
them.
I think we are meeting the leader of them, so it's not that of a suspicious thing.
But you think so?
Plus, think about it. If we send only one of us out because we would be here, all of us together, otherwise, it's still going to do nothing because there's still 3-4 of them outside, and we will send just one of us in return. It is futile.
That is futile.
To actually make it a balanced situation, we would need to go there with 3 of us, 4 of us, you name it.
I haven't really said anything otherwise. I just said that maybe not all of us should be going there. Just in case something happens while the conversation takes place. Oh well, at the very least, if they are planning an ambush, maybe it's warranted that some of us make it out of there without scratch.
I do not think they are planning an ambush. The prince seems to
Oh,
believe that they are a representative of Montano.
you think he's playing his hand as representative of Montano?
Definitely not.
Yes.
But I do not think. But think about it. They ambushed us already before, and they did decided to not kill us, even if they had the opportunity. I do not think that's where they are heading towards. At least as long as we are not heading to that direction.
Well, that's not the only outcome of what they can do. So far, their job was to prevent us from doing anything.
It's true.
At any rate, it's perhaps reasonable to have Albina go there due to her familiarity to see Utala Sombra and whether he is truly of Montano and not representing someone else. So I don't know. Maybe I could stay out of this if we're talking balanced.
I think your peace thing, your peaceful aura, metaphorically speaking, would be helpful in case things went wrong.
I
In case
thought we
things goes wrong.
But we assumed there's no reason for hostilities within there.
Oh yeah, that's something I agree. But again, we act sometimes weird, not because we want to, but because things makes us act weird. So there's always a chance that something might go wrong. And if that happens, it will be nice to have you around.
Yeah, sorry, just to be clear, are we talking about the possibility of them losing control and attacking Indonesia?
But we're pretty much frenzying because of something.
Well, if that happens, then we just need to get out of there, and well, they've basically damaged themselves.
Yeah, that's why I think it's unreasonable to think they're going to ambush us. At the same time, I'm not certain if it's reasonable to go everyone all in because they may be having a reason to stall us within there.
There's little to stall us about.
Come again?
There's little to stall us about. Little to be gained by stalling us.
I think we are perhaps overthinking this somewhat. So let's leave one person out to keep an eye on things just in case. But beyond that, the rest of us go in.
I honestly think it's going to be worse for the one person left out, but okay, let's follow that plan.
In that case, I'll stay out.
You're sure you've been staying out for a while now?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to go into the thick of things. I don't mind having Nicodemus stay out of this if you want to have Labiana involved.
He has obfuscate as well, which if he needs to evade notice by anything, gives him an advantage.
That's true.
For the purposes of supernatural powers, we're in the Elysium right now, right?
Well, he'd be waiting outside Elysium, so.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, if we want to do it that way, I'm okay with that.
Chris, is it unheard of that Senate sessions take any sort of Is it heard of that they extend to late night hours?
No, the mortal senate, when called to assembly, lasts from sunup to sundown.
So by the time we wake up, it's always ended, right?
Correct. Yeah, the tradition has been that if the Senate is still in session at sunset, that is when it adjourns.
Are there any places where there are like public speeches held by various politicians? This includes the tribunes and etc.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of traditional places where such speeches are held. And quite often these are held around lunchtime and dinner time.
Do we have any tabs on how on the any locations where Tiberius's main opponent is having his rallies?
Yes, they're very public. He pretty much holds them in all the same spots. And mostly it's a logistics issue. There's only... So, the city of Rome, the walls are 13 miles in circumference. That's a lot of square footage. A lot of hectares to encompass. And just logistically, there's only a few places where people can gather in sufficient numbers to be heard. And they've kind of formalized that in the forums. So that's basically where you're talking, is the major forums and the major markets.
Okay. Is it possible to have eyes on those places?
Not all at the same time, unless you have allies do it for you.
Well, I've been slacking on the street urchins for a while, so I don't think so. Okay. Right. Perhaps do not overthink it. Maybe let's pay some merchants now for at least several spots, and to deliver a message if something happens. To like to a proxy or something without exposing our cult place. At the same time, I wanted someone to watch the cult headquarters, in case they try to send another one of their messages.
Okay, well, your herd can, the cult members can do that, obviously. That's not a problem.
Yeah, well, in the kind of way that, someone doesn't get involved in this. When they attack, they go and try and find me and inform me of this, rather than trying to storm in and help.
Oh, well, I mean, the cult members, they're just people. And no ordinary person, even a cult person, is going to be like, hey, let me throw my unarmed self at somebody wielding a knife. It's just not going to happen.
That's fair. In the meanwhile, Nicodemus is going to perhaps circulate between the region, the villa of Tiberius and several other known vocal places, just keeping out on things.
Okay.
And that's it. So I suppose the rest of it, the rest of the group is going to the meeting.
Presume so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, some quick math tells me that inside the city walls of Rome is 309,000 square meters. 308,778 square yards to be closer. That's a lot. That's a lot of area to be covering.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You guys head into the bathhouses. As I said, he is in one of the private rooms. Normally, such rooms would be there would be entertainment, musicians going on, people doing poetry readings, yeah, just many things. As you, of course, enter through the secret entrance, make your way through the chambers, and you find him sitting, essentially sitting in the dark. He has not even bothered to have a candle or lamp lit until you guys show up. And then he has one of his servants light it for you. And then the servant retires to sit in the visitor sitting room, leaving you alone in the meeting room with Hector. And just to remind you guys what he looks like. It would help if I was in the right channel on Discord. Yeah, so he waits until the servant is gone and you are all comfortable. And he looks around at you. He notes the missing coterie member, but doesn't say anything. Says to you, I will not insult your intelligence by attempting to exchange pleasantries and act as if we're all friends here. I have a question and a warning. Do you truly, deep down, understand what your man Tiberius is doing?
Not particularly, no.
Opposing the status quo?
Why don't I get the feeling that my thoughts on my answer will be different to yours? So, are you of a mind to tell us?
You realize he is breaking the spirit of the law to manipulate the letter of the law. That's what he's doing.
As are his opponents.
You are wrong there, but that's not why I asked you to come to debate this. I'm asking you, do you understand the consequences of allowing him to continue?
You think that there'll be some upsetting the balance of things.
I know there will be. The system of Rome is based on trust that the men and women serving do what is truly best. And what Tiberius is doing is abusing the very foundations and trust in his office to push his own agenda. And he's doing it in such a way that the foundation of trust in Rome is going to be broken forever. Why do you allow this to continue?
Because it's what the prince requested of us.
More to the point, that trust is already breaking, regardless of if he succeeds or fails. He might speed it along, but, well, regardless of whether you think his opponents are justified, even without Gracchus around, there would still be a growing fractures in Rome based on what they are doing.
I think you misunderstand me. I care not about my faction being justified or unjustified.
And
I think
why do you ask us what?
No, dude, please go on.
I was just gonna say, why are you asking? Why are you asking what we think?
Because all of you should realize that there is an after. Don't you know that once Tiberius' term is finished, don't you realize all of his laws are going to be repealed?
Likely, yes, but I do not see how that concerns us. We are not the ones that will be. I do not believe any of us have enough lands to be affected by said laws, nor do we hold influence in any of the areas that will get affected.
But surely
Trey
you understand the need for vengeance. That there are those mortals who, once his laws are repealed and he is no longer safe, will ensure that all of his followers are punished. And your names are prominent among them.
This is a miscalculation we have made, I will admit.
That's why I ask you, not as a rival, I ask you to please put a stop to this. Convince him that he is doing this wrong, that what he is doing is not only bad for his family, it's not only bad for his followers, but is bad for Rome itself. What has been broken can be mended, but it is never as strong as it once was.
Is this why you had been working to prevent us from influencing him? To try to keep him from achieving his goals?
Partially, yes, it was attempting to remove as much of his support as possible. With limited support, if he knew that he had few allies, he would go about this in a far different manner. I have no doubt he still would have attempted it. But he feels strong now. Don't you realize that? You're part of this. Because of your help, he feels...
Yes. He's getting influence. support from the common folk. Can I ask you something?
You may ask me anything. I won't guarantee I can answer.
What do you know about Roman soldiers?
That's a pretty broad question.
Well, let me be more specific. How does one become a Roman soldier? What is the necessary requirements?
You again need to be more specific. There is a difference between an auxiliary soldier, a support soldier, and a legionnaire.
Well, we can skip that one. Let me come to the real deal then.
No need, because I understand what
need
you're
a
getting
land.
at.
They
There
need a
are
land.
there are better ways. We do not, me personally, the faction with which I work, we do not disagree that there are things that need to be modified. But his approach has been all wrong. He is taking a sledgehammer and using it to drive in a 10-penny nail.
Perhaps if she was presented with other ways to achieve its goals, she might relent from these more radical ideas.
Good luck. The Scipios tried that for years, and he rejected them. But that's why I ask you. You may not be as close as family, but you are still close. You represent the last chance that my group sees towards stopping this headlong plunge of his.
Perhaps a direct approach, the usage of command given to dominate, a manipulation of his memories on the events that brought him to make this decision.
Like with Cato, I suspect that would be a risky maneuver. While he may not be immune, he's clearly made of sterner stuff than some.
Well,
What
we
do
can
you
discuss that among us later. We can discuss the
What do you
specifics.
What do you think needs to be done, Hector? Out of curiosity.
I'm doing what needs to be done. I'm attempting to get those close to him to convince him of the folly of his actions. I and my group are no longer in any condition or place to dictate terms to Tiberius Gracchus.
Out of character, I would like to try and make a perception empathy check to try and get a feel of if he's not necessarily lying, but has additional motives that he isn't mentioning.
Okay.
Not necessarily knowing what they are, but just
I mean, it's not going to tell you motives, but it will. You know how when somebody is disassembling, and you can maybe read it in their body language that, yeah, this guy's he knows more than he's telling us. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's one.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Make a perception empathy check. It's gonna be difficulty 6. And I'll go ahead and resist that for him because he's a Sombra and he doesn't like people reading everything he's doing. So, yeah.
I will attempt to spend a willpower.
Go right on ahead.
That's
No,
5
one-
successes.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Oh, yes, you get a pretty damn good read on him from what you think. Uh, his shoulders are relaxed. He does not appear to be carrying any tension. He's got this resigned attitude, air about him of kind of like, how can I put this? You know, it's one of those. If you ever had a boss where you're like, look, I told you the information. It's not my fault. You didn't act on it. That's kind of the air he's got about him.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if a raid the soul is gonna be worthwhile.
Go right ahead. Perception, empathy, difficulty 8 per the book.
This one.
You're making good points, I have to say, honestly. But we do have reasons that are beyond being smart to actually see that Tiberius succeeds what he does. And I've just declared, as you understand, that some of our reasons are not smart reasons,
I have
but
a lot of luck
nonetheless
with
they
this
are
roll.
important to us, I have to say.
Labiena, according to your read of his aura, Hector looks to be on the verge of extreme violence.
Yeah.
According to your read the soul, he is having trouble suppressing the urge to murder you all.
He's a werewolf and a 3 times Diablerist.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope. He's having trouble suppressing the urge to just claw on the shadows to eat you all.
Are you here under the command of Montan?
Here tonight or here in Rome?
In Rome?
In Rome, yes. Montano speaks and I obey.
Well, it appears from the sounds of it, you said your piece. We will, I suppose, at the very least, consider what you said tonight. Is there anything else?
And is this concern for the fate of Gracchus, his actions, your concern or the concern of Montan himself?
He just smiles. And he just smiles and does not verbally answer that question. As you said, Hatshepsut, I have said my piece, and I appreciate all of you coming here so quickly and peacefully to hear it.
That
Sure.
could pretty much say that Labienne is starting to look a little pensive, kind of just.
In that case, we should probably be off. Would hardly do for the sun to come out and kill us all after such a pleasant conversation.
Yeah. All of you guys notice Labienne is getting twitchy. She's backing away from Hector, like sliding, like putting people between her, putting Agatha specifically between her and Hector. And if you could see under the mask, you would see that she's activating Algor Mortis, as she tends to do when she is feeling threatened.
Threatened?
Have you?
We lost you there for a second.
I believe Dennis wanted to speak first.
No, you can go on.
Okay. If you wish to thank someone for our presence here, should think the prince is quite well aware of your situation serving Montana, and he's the one that suggested us to come here.
Oh, I'm quite sure that he and Montano speak frequently. I would not be confident of performing a significant political action in Rome without him swiftly discovering it.
You are a rational kindred. I'm sure you will find our answer in the upcoming weeks or months, either without us directly telling you or not.
You owe me no answers whatsoever. You owe me nothing.
Regardless, I believe, as I said, we should probably be going. Good evening. And Hat at least will start to get up and, with a, sort of token respectful gesture, just, turn around and walk out.
Abner do the same, give him a polite nod before she leaves.
And he returns it accordingly.
And
Um,
not sort of taking her eyes off of
Say,
him.
before
as she
Labiena
walks
leaves,
out too.
before Labiena leaves, he stops you and he says, "Make sure they know that if this goes through, if Tiberius gets what he wants, it is guaranteed that at the conclusion of his term as tribune, he will be assassinated. Somebody is going to get him. Whether us, our benefactors, or some other faction. If you wish to see him live, you will have to keep an eye on him even during the day."
I have no doubt about him getting assassinated.
Labiena kind of what's the word? Lowers the eyes, but I think you know where I'm going with that. And kind of looks at him. But she tries to keep her cool and she says, "Tell them."
After that, he makes no more move to interfere with you leaving. He allows you to leave peacefully, quietly, or noisily, if that's what you want to do.
Deliberately stomping over, every, tiled surface or whatever. Just deliberately knocking over every vase.
So she's basically just watching her back as such as she leaves.
Yeah, as you guys leave, he takes a brass-like bell and puts the flame out and goes back into darkness.
Okay.
Catch up with the others.
There is no ambush waiting for you outside. There's nothing, there was nothing like that being set up on you. You all exit peacefully, unmolested. Nobody robbed you while you were there. It's all good.
So just to be reminded, the prince said that we are supposed to keep Tiberius alive and on his seat throughout this year, throughout his first year of office.
He said, let's see. What exactly did he say? I am going through my notes.
To see how much wiggle room we have about this situation right now.
he has said that he sees Tiberius as having a valid concern. He wishes to see Tiberius's agenda actually pass. And he asked you to, I believe, if I remember right, the exact words were infiltrate his campaign and his life and become part of his life.
Okay.
If I remember my exact words, I think those were very similar to that.
Something like that, yeah.
In other words, Tiberius can die but if his idea goes through, that's job well done.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
That's what he cares about. He cares about the health and well-being of Rome, and the task as set forth was to infiltrate the campaign, infiltrate Tiberius's life, become part of it, and see that the reforms are implemented, basically.
As we go towards the Kotri Haven, I guess we will just casually open up a conversation and just say, what Hector said in there did make sense, but I personally remember what the Prince told us to do, and I do remember what it means if we successfully do what the Prince told us. And I honestly think that the consequences of Tiberius going on, successfully passing his laws and then getting assassinated, would be dangerous for us. But in exchange, we would earn a great position in Rome that we right now lack.
I think we do need to find a way to shield ourselves from the consequences, but, well, one thing that amused me a little was his insistence that once broken, things can't be repaired. There have been, at least... I will just say that while much of the history of my land is lost at this point, there's enough remaining to show that it isn't so simple as that.
It's always true. Nothing is as simple as that, and it's more so when we are talking about a civilization. Now, you pressed on the point I wanted to come at. Once this thing happens, we will need a thing that can protect us from the lash that will come from the patricians. I do have some more ideas, mainly just taking a long amount of time away from Rome, and once I return to Rome, just arrive with a different profile. Take advantage of our nature.
At this point,
Just to be sure, the public face of ours is that of the cult, right? Are we recognized publicly by our names and to the point that they could say that, oh, here's the Nicodemus, the famous medic that lives there and there.
Some of us are. I think Agatha, Het, Albina, and you actually we told our names, real names, to Tiberius.
Yeah,
if I
but my
remember
question. Yeah, but that's obviously. But my question is, how does those names carry into the understanding of mortals, other than the fact that we're representatives of the cult? Is it that more like our cult is being at stake and less us personally?
I do believe that the cult is at danger. After we use it actively to promote Tiberius. So even if we are not know, that cult is not to be involved with him.
If
Not directly,
well,
anyway.
I honestly don't know if our names has been inter well, if our names has given too much information to the mortals, I do not know that, but either case, I think with enough investigation and contacts, etc., mortals could get enough information to, you know, learn these backgrounds of ours, including the cult and, Nicodemus, the doctor, and Agatha from the Capua, etc., and etc. I think that what you would do if you're hunted by werewolves, which is go away and wait for 150 year, would be a good solution in this case too. Leave Rome, go somewhere, lay low, wait enough time for mortals to forget, assume a different persona, name, come back, and, well, play the game.
It will mean that, it will mean losing everything we've built here, of course.
Well, at that point, you need to decide, is your life more important than these assets, or are those assets important enough for you to risk your debt, true debt?
I understand. I was just making the point. No.
At this point, Labiena kind of leans into the others, and she's just like, "I don't trust that Hector."
You should not.
Why not?
Yes, we are not trusting Hector, but it doesn't mean
Did
that
you
the
not-
things he said isn't smart, isn't true.
But did you not see him back there? He looked like he wanted to hurt us.
Did? There's a
No,
confused look on his
no,
face.
they did not. They did not. I mean, look, you have much more perception over things than I do, so maybe yes, he did. But I personally did not see through his facade to know if he had any other intentions underneath the mask. But I mean, either case,
And
you should definitely not trust them. Remember the time?
Oh,
Well, you
I'm
weren't
just
there.
saying I'm just saying I trust him even less nowadays. Like now.
Well, it's
Plus, he
good to
also had a
have.
message for us, and Labiena relays the message exactly as he passes it on, because I can't remember. Out of character, I can't remember exactly what it was.
That the only way to keep Tiberius alive is to keep him from managing to pass the reforms. That otherwise, at the end of his term, he's going to be assassinated by
Yeah, and that we should watch him on daylight too, not just at night. So we should have some people, human or whatever, that can walk on daylight, watch over him and
Watching
protect him.
during the day.
I think what his message is was that it's all futile from our end. Imagine an enemy giving pointers to an enemy.
So here's the thing with Tiberius. I do not care at all about what will happen among the mortals and about the trust of Rome, etc. once his laws passes. I do not care that. What I care is succeeding our mission, and I'm going to Prince and acquiring what is promised to us if we are successful. And the consequences? Well, the most dangerous one is getting retaliated by patricians and the kindreds that support the patricians. And to save us from that, we simply need to find a protection. And one of the easiest protection is getting away, seeking shelter. There are definitely other ways, ways that if we follow and do successfully, we can keep assets we have. But those options are riskier than simply getting miles away from the city, Rome, and laying low for several dozen or maybe a century.
I think we may be blowing this out of proportion in the way where I don't think we should be concerned about any of the vampires coming to fetch our hides because the stake is not this big, unless we screw up something or they push it over the line. But at this point, I don't think it's anything warranting final death. That said, we should only be concerned with the mortals, and I think we can handle this without actually exiling ourselves. We
At the
can
moment,
easily at this point we can easily start like changing names and pretending we're selling our households for something, make them believe that we're all gone by now. The big problem is the cult. We need to figure out a way to protect our cult.
In terms of the... I'm not sure if the defenses I could put up would be able to sustain themselves throughout whatever happens, but they may certainly be useful.
Well, in terms of the cult, there's always the option of appointing one of the cult members as the new leader. That would take care of that.
Yeah, but the cult will be still in danger because all the Rome knows that the cult itself supports Tiberius Gracchus.
But more to the point, anyone we choose will not be fully aware of precisely what is needed.
yes. Now, the protections, I do not know what the specifics of it are but I'm sure in physical cases it will be very useful. What I worry about most is more the social punch that will come at the cult, like economical and otherwise similar ways of interfering with our power base. I do not know if your protections can deal with that.
In any case, I suppose the main thing we have to do is decide how detrimental or how accurate, I suppose, Hector's warnings in fact are. I think the best thing we can do is, wait and see exactly how much of an impact this really will have on Roman people.
I think we should go do more than that.
Warranted.
I think we should reorient ourselves in our thinking. That may be a novelty coming from here, but we have to assume that Tiberius will die eventually. And what we can work towards is to make sure his work and what Prince wants is not going to waste. We should we should find a way to make him a martyr, basically.
He will get assassinated. That is for sure. We just need to make sure that he gets assassinated after we do our goal, after we do our mission successfully.
The wisest course of action?
We got like a year, I think. If I remember
Let-
correct, we got a year.
Wouldn't our time be better spent trying to convince that what Tiberius is trying to do is eventually going to be the best thing for the Roman people?
We're already doing that with the cult and all that. We are trying to convince more common folk to believe that Tiberius is doing something good for them. The real deal is the patricians that does not believe in that, and I do not think that we have the means to persuade them to think otherwise.
At least not en masse. Here's a out of character. One of the how difficult was it to find out who was connected? Remember when we were dealing with what? There, I forget their name. Mahendra. How difficult was it to find members of their little cult?
As I recall, that was actually took several days of searching and quite a bit of risk, given that you had to infiltrate a couple of different places where they might be, and then you actually had to go attend a service.
Right. So here's what I think one of the options we. In some ways, a very simple option, and also possibly one of the safest, if perhaps costly in terms of, resources we're going to have to expend to make it work. Just have the cult go underground. Not literally, obviously, but you know what I mean.
Underground work. I know what you mean.
That could be doable, especially if we have someone watching over them, keeping everyone in touch while they are underground, while they are keeping down low.
Devise some codes to
Communication, yes.
yes. We'll likely need to switch the premises away from our current communal haven for any services we do. And an additional advantage of this is that we might have more leeway in what we can have the cult do generally, because, well, we're operating under the nose of the law anyway.
That suggestion, that idea.
Okay, well, you guys have some time to think about it. And the main question is, what are you going to do about Tiberius? Are you going to go see him, or just kind of let him do his thing?
I was actually just about to say, I think the best thing we can do is just continue as before, let him do his thing.
Yeah, I think we are following the plan, keeping him alive and interfering with his mission goal.
To be honest, we don't really know what Hector and the others could potentially be planning. If if anything, of course, but
Well, we can always get some information in exchange of some boons, but that's something extra, optional. But yeah, we are not touching Tiberius, trying to persuade him not to do his thing. I guess that's the
That's-
agreement.
We're never gonna succeed. He's too far strong-willed and too dedicated in this.
Yeah, pretty much.
it's
We
like
would have
going
to use.
against what the prince wants.
Yeah, that's also true. And plus, we would have to use supernatural powers to actually get what we want if we want to
I do not think supernatural powers will be required. He obviously believes that I am some kind of demon. If I could approach him and
No.
show approval of the ideas of the reform, he might start self-doubting himself.
Look, you're a masquerade breach and risk when it comes to Tiberius. I think you should not go near him. Or should attempt something like that. It is not because of him, it is more about us. You should not do it. I mean, if you really want to scare him, there's always other ways too, which wouldn't be as much masquerade threat as that.
The Masquerade is not under threat. At least not anymore. Any other action, normal action that put it in. It is just be an apparition telling him how glad his plans are making me, how glad I am at the future that he is setting Rome towards, how his actions are serving my purpose.
The name doesn't matter. Aberration, abomination, demon. That's not the important thing. The important thing is, in his eyes, you are a supernatural creature. You are not human thing. Something that belongs to reality, their reality, paradigm.
Of course, that's the idea behind this plan.
That is the reason this is a masquerade breach if you do that. That is the reason we shouldn't do it.
I think it would be best not to nudge the situation too much more in this regard. What will happen, and frankly, I suspect that in the end it will be necessary.
GM, how many people in Rome are accepting, are understanding and accepting the necessity of Tiberius's reforms? Just those that supported him, or is that number gradually rising?
That's impossible to know. There's no such thing as polling or anything like that. So what you do know is that he was elected with a huge number, with a huge percentage of victory.
Mm-hmm.
There's no people that actually sort of go around and just speak to the people.
No, there's nothing like that.
In the rhetorics that was used during any kind of summits, meets, or rallies. Was there any? Was the word kings used in terms of describing how the patricians behave in terms of in terms of plebs?
No.
Are there any kind of cults or organizations of or societies of people that are actively trying to force a political agenda of anti-patricianism on this angle?
The speech that sticks in everyone's minds is one where Tiberius compared the treatment of Roman citizen soldiers to how they would treat an animal. And he said something that all Romans have light and air and water, but that is all they have. That even the beasts of the wild fields have a place to call their home, to call their own, and that has been taken, robbed from the citizens. And he essentially said that those rich, the incredibly wealthy patricians, or the optimates now, because it's the patrician plebeian divide is declining. He said the incredibly rich optimates treat you worse than the most wild of animals to be found in a barbarian forest. And that really resonated with people, that they are treating us worse than animals.
Okay, another step to be taken is to possibly go with this angle and elevate it to the fact that the last time this happened in Rome was when we had monarchy. But it's the question of finding the right people to say those words and preach it on the streets other than a cult. So hence my question, are there any organizations that or groups of maybe political parties or whatever, I'm not sure how much there is the...
Professional public speakers, professional criers that could give out the message?
As has been said many times, Tiberius is immensely popular. Immensely popular amongst the poor and disenfranchised of Rome. There are thousands upon thousands of soldiers and former soldiers who, if Tiberius snapped his fingers, would leap and march across of all of Italia to his defense.
No, but I do not mean public speaking on the public grounds, stuff like that. I mean more like in the forum during to the other politicians, something that could be done to sway the more elite of Rome, the other patricians, stuff like that.
Unfortunately, they have tried all that. He tried diplomacy. He tried speeches. He tried to appeal to their more noble natures. And all they saw was, the lands that are making me money are going to be taken away from me. I'm not letting it happen.
What was it? The saying? What was the saying that I think it was JFK gave? You make a peaceful revolt impossible. You make violent revolt inevitable.
I guess what the idea is to make the patricians see that if they continue on their stubborn angle, they're going to have a lot of people angry. But for this, there needs to be a more decisive voice behind it, and not just
perhaps something to scare them into compliance. A small revolt, something very nothing meant to overthrow the system, but just something that maybe one of them finds himself getting ambushed in the night by a bunch of plebeians. One of them that has been blocking the reforms by Tiberius, and they give him a beating.
That might lead to retaliation from the rich patricians, though.
Yeah,
Now,
I don't like the retribution possibility.
now I have a question out of character. The lockdown is going on for like 2, 3 days right now at this point.
It's been coming up on 2 weeks.
Okay. What's the situation among the folk? Are they getting, hungrier,
Yes,
angrier?
the things are getting desperate.
Okay. Are there acts of violence and chaos seen through some parts of the city?
There's
yet?
acts of violence every day.
Rioting.
Not rioting, but there's always acts of violence in Rome. That's
True, true. But
Yeah.
like any outstanding kind of acts of violence, people killing other families to get some food, bread, and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. And getting more prominent, I think is the word.
well, I mean, there's no newspapers, but yeah, I mean, yeah, they're hungry, and when they're hungry, they do stupid things.
So I honestly don't see any other end to the lockdown. People will get more hungry, more violent, more chaotic. And remember, order is important for thriving in a civilization. And at this point, order is slowly descending. There is one end to this. Either this lockdown lifts off and people become more stable, or it doesn't and people become unstable.
Honestly, I suspect at this point it would be better for Rome to break than to rot.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
do we even know why he's doing this? There's got to be a greater purpose.
As far as what I can assess from his personality so far that we've been talked with him, he is quite a patriot and a believer of his home. Now, I've personally never seen such dedication to one's land for so many years, and it's kind of hard for me to believe that a person of such, how to say it, ideals would exist. But so far, it seems like he is truly believing in the land and the best interest of the plebeians.
One should never underestimate the motivation of one who believes they are right.
On the angle of convincing anyone, perhaps patricians, maybe we should appeal to their superstitiousness, perhaps to arrange some sort of demonstrations that what Tiberius is doing is in accordance to the patron deity of Rome. How can we call this?
If they have private shrines, we could see them desecrated.
I'm not,
Sign of the displeasure of the gods
I
at
don't,
the actions.
I don't think Nicodemus meant something. Well, I think he meant something less violent.
maybe like giving credence to Tiberius's words. We have the power of the weather on our side. That's one way.
Yes, we actually do have some, how to say it, omen kind of things underneath our hands, or at least one of our hands. It would definitely be useful. It would help to the propaganda we are doing.
I can arrange apparitions to persuade them to see things on Tiberius ways.
In this economically crisis moment, I think it might be useful if we give some money to feasts and tell them to speak in behalf of Tiberius. I'm sure in exchange of 5 coins, they will definitely spread the word around the streets.
Sorry, who do you mean?
Priests, like any priest, you know, the priest of Apollo and priest of this and that. If we give them money, bribe them to speak in behalf of Tiberius, speak in behalf of his cause, then it will definitely be a useful thing to do.
That's not gonna resonate with the patricians because they know anyone can be bought.
I must ask, for what purpose do we seek to do this?
To become, to make the prince our patron.
He wishes for the reforms to go through in some manner, yes?
Yes, and he wants us to interfere with his life, possibly keep him alive.
That's not what he said. I mean, the prince's will is to see the reforms to fruition, but Tiberius's death is not a problem.
Indeed.
Go ahead.
Thus, I give perhaps a harsh viewpoint, but one that I think does deserve consideration. Perhaps Rome needs that chaos to actually fix itself. Not every lesson is pleasant, after all. The patricians won't be convinced by words at this point. They've proven that. But perhaps chaos will convince them.
So you're thinking that Tiberius felt that action was needed rather than just words?
I mean, Tiberius is literally creating ever-increasing chaos in the city. Him shutting down every ways of flow of gold and other kinds of money into the city is a creation of chaos. But this doesn't matter. That's just the means to get the result he wants.
Well, do you know what that is?
Yeah. The law passing.
Precisely, that's my point. He is taking actions, whether he fully understands the implications or not. He is taking actions that will see at least the core of what he wishes coming to fruition eventually, even if, well, it may result in the loss of some other things he held dear.
Okay. This conversation continues in this vein off and on for a couple of nights. You go around and around in circles, not really coming any closer to deciding on a course of action. After 2 full weeks since the start of him vetoing everything, the Senate caves. Word goes to the newsreaders that there is going to be a special election to recall the vote of Marcus Octavius and kick him from being tribune, and to appoint another to be in his place.
Is it known at this point who is the most likely?
It is a client of Tiberius, somebody who will basically rubber stamp whatever he wants.
Who?
The voting to recall Marcus. What do we know about it? How likely is it to go through?
Unknown.
I think we should just focus our attention on getting the cult safe. Look, we've done our bit in regards to Tiberius. Let's just get the cult safe. That's the most important thing for us personally.
Yes.
Prepare for the
To be fair,
potentially
if any
inevitable.
if any lessons are there to be learned from Camillus and the way he's been speaking to us, that's probably the course of action he'd applaud.
I agree that we should focus on our cult, but now that the opposition is gone and is replaced by someone more loyal, it is the time that the Tiberius's law will be passed, considering there is no one to oppose. Veto is.
Don't get ahead of yourself. They haven't booted him out yet. They're just holding the vote to.
Okay.
It is one step closer, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
this one eventually he will get there. And once he gets there, my point is that once he gets there, once there is no opposition and the law can be passed successfully, that is the most important time we should actually watch over him. And after the law is passed, yes, that's what the prince wants to see.
On that
And
note,
at that point,
the vote is tomorrow.
okay.
All right. So quick question. How difficult, from an out of character perspective, how difficult would it be to sort of convince the cult members to start being more circumspect and to acquire alternative lodgings? As in for the
To be more
cults.
circumspect is easy. Alternative lodgings is difficult, as they are quite poor.
Oh, I meant more in terms of for where the cult can meet.
Oh, they'll go wherever you want them to go.
Yeah. So it will be, but yeah, and keeping the change in location from being,
Known.
well known outside the cult.
Yeah, pretty much keep it
Like
secret.
secret
Yeah.
lodgings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys have a
Meeting place.
very small gathering anyway, so it's not like it's going to be, oh my God, the cult of judo is moving.
Just,
Like 15 people.
I mean, 15 people, that's, 15 chances to go wrong.
I assume we in parallel start making preparations to protect our own households.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yes.
be taking care to feed regularly so that I can start applying wards to to our places of stay. I'll be giving you each. I'll be giving a password to you all so that you can bypass the wards without having to actually fight them.
Okay.
Basically, she needs a point of your blood at the same time she's casting the ritual.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, this actually happened. All right. The way they do the voting is they essentially divide it into 8 voting blocks. After 7 voting blocks had cast their votes, Tiberius stopped the voting. And he went up to Marcus and he said, "This is your last chance. Resign and walk away before the last tribe casts their vote." And he refused. So Tiberius opened the voting again, and the last voting block voted. and voted to remove Marcus Octavius from being a tribune. And after the vote was complete, Tiberius stepped up and he gave a speech to remove Marcus. And instead of having his lictors do it, which is what he wanted, the whole crowd surged forward, grabbed him, and was going to kill him right there on. They were going to rip him apart right there on the rostra at the forum. And Tiberius actually pleaded with them to calm down, to not do it. Don't murder this man. And one of his servants actually jumped in the middle of it. One of Marcus Octavius' servants jumped in the middle of it and got his eye ripped out. But Marcus escaped and left Rome.
Oof. Shit. Was there a particular reason they did that? Like, were they really angry, or was it some scheming, like?
Because the crowd was pissed.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
The reason the vote was cast, and he phrased it such that Marcus Octavius had abandoned his responsibility to the people of Rome. He was a tribune. It was his job to look out for them.
Okay.
That all he was doing was vetoing everything that was being passed.
Yeah. So Marcus was just, if Tiberius wanted it, he wasn't allowed to have it.
Yeah. He played dirty. Then Tiberius also played dirty. Essentially. Well, and this vote for casting out Marcus. So we now have to wait for the vote to pass the law.
These things do happen. They pass. The agrarian reform is passed, and Tiberius sets up an implementation committee to include his father-in-law, himself, and his brother. And for 4 months, he leaves Rome on a survey of public lands.
Okay. Oof, that's dangerous.
So we're going to do a 4-month time skip, during which point you guys are essentially putting your affairs in order.
Ensuring that, trying to minimize the chances of us getting hit by blowback.
Correct.
Oh well, it's only reasonable. I mean, the law has passed, so our job is done. So we don't really need to have any obligations anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But now
Formally.
there's consequences. Now there's consequences we need to deal with. So
There will be consequences from Marcus's supporters.
Yeah.
So I have a special note and one more thing, and then we'll take a short break. The special note, during these 4 months, you guys notice that the price of raw silver as a commodity is beginning to rise a lot. Mostly the government still gets it in order to issue coins and such, but people wanting to make jewelry or special things are having to really shell out quite a lot of money to buy raw pure silver.
Oh, okay.
That thing where your attempt to hunt werewolves ends up causing an economic crash.
Wait, that's the reason? Okay, I thought it was like some story.
We probably didn't help, at the very least.
Okay. But it makes sense, the political variables making sure that the silver is getting harder makes sense, yeah. It sounds
And
like a...
second note, Albina had asked Papa Roach to find some information for her. And he appears a few short nights after the vote to pass the agrarian reform is held. He comes up to her one night while she's out and about. He says, hey there, cutie. You got a few coins to spend on an old man?
I give him one.
He draws
I
you
make
aside
every-
to a small alcove hidden from the street. And he pockets the money. And you notice he looks just like your average, 100% average Roman dude. Nothing remarkable about him in any way. And he says, "Hey, I got a little information for you, sweetie." And he looks around and he drops the act. "All right, look. I've got something for you. So, I got a description of this Childa of Actian, right? I still don't have a name, but I got a description. And wouldn't you know it, a couple nights ago, someone fitting this description, a female, was seen out in the Trastevere region with Ihamus, having a nice, intimate conversation. Nobody seems to know what they're talking about, but yeah, apparently they're getting kind of cozy."
Interesting. Maybe Helms has decided to take a more active role in this. Thank you. Do you know if she is back in the city or if she's still in this region?
God, I don't know where she stays. Honestly, I was kind of lucky to hear about that. But, you know, I will say this. I think he's using some of the uh, more naive neonates, the ones who don't know any better. I think they're trying to get in on his good side.
Of course, that is the nature of his clan. Mm. But and from what I understand, the child of actors does not have any love for him, so should be a easy target to convince. Thank you for this information. Are you sick to speak to him about it? See if he is willing to shed some light.
That's not really my thing. I'm not really one for prying information out of people.
I think that I will speak to him.
Oh, you will. Okay, that's awesome. Yes, you do that.
Is there anything that I may help you with?
Oh, no, not at the moment, but I'll keep your address in mind. Once you guys figure out what you're gonna do with that, you let me know.
I will. Thank you once again. Enjoy your night.
All right, I think it's time for a 10-minute break. Let's meet back up in about 10 minutes.
Okie
Sure.
dokie.
Okay. It's been 4 months. You guys have been using all of your influence, buying new identities, working on getting some property, bringing your ghouls or childer into the mix. For those of you who have them, basically utilizing everything you have to start insulating yourself from the fallout.
I think after 4 months, Labian is beginning to realise that her child is probably never coming home.
Yep, he's been.
But
You haven't heard anything from him and that's highly unusual.
so she's looking a little sullen these days.
Robin, I will try to assist her in dealing with that. Try to help her arrange funeral procession for him and all.
That's very nice of you. All right, So after 4 months, Tiberius comes back to Rome with the survey. Everything he's got everything laid out. He's got a survey of the lands. He's got a plan to draw lots to see who gets what. He's got a plan for who gets to enter them. Now he just needs money.
Okay, we got money.
Well, he needs a lot of money. Like, way more than any even 2 or 3 people can provide.
Yeah, this isn't even probably to some extent even Crassus would struggle to give him the funds he needs.
Well,
And
okay.
this is likely the reason for the increase in the sale price of silver, no doubt.
A war can bring the needed money, I guess. But I mean, does he want to, create a war or whatever?
Well, no. And
Get some treasure.
Labiana, what did you say about the price of silver? You said something.
Skyrocket by now.
I'm kind of guessing that this could be the reason for the increase in the cost of silver.
Unfortunately, no.
No?
No, it is
Do we
not.
have means of learning what's the cause of it? Some of us have accountant goals that they know about finance and how the market works.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Would like you to roll me intelligence plus commerce plus your contacts rating, or your ghouls contacts ratings if you have such a person.
Base diff 6.
Yeah, base diff 6.
Only if we have it? Commerce, that is?
Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna just kind of be floundering.
So not possible to untrain use it. Gotcha.
Well, I mean, if you're not trained, you can get rumors, but it's hard to separate fact from fiction if you don't. So.
Oh, so I can still make the roll, but
Well, I mean, that's just
Right.
why I'm saying don't make the roll.
okay.
Yeah, it's too easy to get taken in by wild tales.
I heard that Jupiter came down from the stars themselves and declared, "Silver sucks. No one should have it."
Yeah, pretty much. They're like, that sounds reasonable. Yeah.
I actually have someone to roll with.
All right.
Also, back then, was there such a thing as fundraising?
7.
Did they have something similar to that?
Yeah, actually, yes, they did.
Option.
Is it harder to get gold too?
Fundraising in support of Tiberius.
No, it's actually just silver, and what is needed is the funds to set up households. So you have to buy and construct the buildings, buy the animals, buy the farm goods, buy seed crops. Basically, you need enough resources to set up several thousand farms.
Would it perhaps be possible to try to get sponsorship to this project? Perhaps convince some patricians to support these families under the condition that they'll become the clients.
Would they openly do that, though?
Well, I think you probably could. You could definitely go talk to them. With 3 successes over a few months, what Gregorius and his men find out for you is that there have been several ships that were expected to come in and did not. They believe they were sunk, or bandits took them. Additionally, the mines in the Alps and in Spain, they've been having trouble keeping people there working them. So
That's an
the
interesting
actual flow of
coincidence.
silver has begun to slow down.
coincidence.
And there's no talk about foul play because we're looking at possible free independent happenings happening
Well,
over the course of 4 months.
you're too far away from Spain to know. I mean, just geographically, there's no way to tell why they're having trouble keeping workers.
Either
Same.
case,
And I take it we don't know anyone who's close
But-
enough.
The mines are well, you do know one.
Montana.
The mines themselves are the worst punishments and the worst duty to have as a slave. Nobody wants to go work in a mine.
It would pretty much be a death sentence.
The salt mines were actually the worst, but
Presumably,
you're talking
because it's salt.
degrees of awful. When you start talking about salt mines versus silver mines versus tin mines, you're talking about degrees of terrible.
Pretty much. It's all toxic in one way or another. To
The
them.
Romans actually pioneered the shock mining. What they would do is they would send people in and light fires inside the mine and get the rock nice and hot and send people in with buckets of cold water to throw on the hot rock. So hot stone, cold water, rock shatters. Unfortunately, that would essentially act as rock bombs. So people would get seriously hurt. There were lots of cave-ins. Of course, a fire in a closed tunnel, no oxygen, people would suffocate quickly.
Yep.
Lots of smoke, so people are gonna, die of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, smoke inhalation.
pretty bad. Pretty bad situation.
Yeah, the mines were not pleasant.
So yeah, he needs money. To get money, he needs supporters, right?
Traditionally, the way it's done is you basically go to the Senate and they would allocate funds. So he needs his men. He puts out the word to all of his clients. It's time to start lobbying the Senate for money. He needs money to fund this now. He's got the land. He's got it all parceled out. He just needs the money to set all the farms up.
We can use our guild for that, right? There is nothing else we can do.
I mean, we should not use
I
the
think
code.
we shouldn't.
Yeah, we are trying to keep the code down under, bringing them into this with the only.
Again,
think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
traditionally it's the Senate that sets this up.
Well, yeah, but like, how are we going to convince the Senate? We have to use something like cult. We have
Well-
to convince the Senate, right?
We
But-
might not
but-
need.
Well,
You're
No,
assuming the
um,
Senate can be convinced.
We might not need to actually convince the Senate if we can get this support of private wealthy individuals willing to fund this out of their own pockets.
Well, let's see what the Senate's initial reactions are going to be first. There's no need to go into this half-cocked. If you'd continue,
Right.
Chris.
essentially it's Tiberius that needs to convince the Senate.
Well, yeah, yes and no. He is getting his supporters to convince the Senate because they are bound by tradition to approve some funding for it. He is certain they will not approve enough.
Well, you can always start with the Senate. They say. Can convince them. Before looking at other avenues as a backup.
Like I said, even multiple families pooling their money will not be enough. I mean, they'll have to go bankrupt to fund the project, and they won't do that.
Because this involves like moving bunch of land to other people, right? That's the reason.
You're attempting to set up 1,000 farms.
Ba-
Yeah.
basically,
more.
aside from some light campaigning, this is literally, quite literally above our pay grade.
Yeah. If we don't have,
I'm guessing he's planning to sort of implement this all at once. Or is he planning to roll this out, so, implement a few at a time?
Sooner is better,
So
in his
many at a
opinion.
time.
yeah, probably as fast as possible.
If you can do it in stages, the profit of the farms in the earlier stage can pay for the next one.
Well, that would take hundreds of years, literally hundreds of years to do.
Wait, I think we need to focus less on ways we can directly try and affect this. Just do our token bit to help and make sure we keep our own hides intact, because we've set the ball roll. We've helped get the ball rolling. Now we just need to see which dominoes fall.
I mean, at its simplest, I have the influence background, so that's one thing I can use to try to get some support for Tiberius in this regard. And I have like allies in Rome too. I can also use them, but that's not going to be enough. So that's still a help, I think.
To be fair though, Hatshepsut has a point. We think about exactly what it was that the prince asked of us, and we've pretty much done it. So
Not really.
according to the prince,
Not really.
job is
He
done.
wanted this law to pass, and then executed. I think it is not executed yet. Yes, it is passed, but he needs money to execute the law. I don't think Prince was like, okay, I want this to be officially accepted, but I don't give a shit about it actually becoming a thing. I don't think Prince was like that. I think Prince was like, okay, I want this to be officially accepted, then executed successfully.
Out of character, did the prince actually say that, or did he just say he wanted it passed?
He said the agrarian reforms would be good for Rome. They need to happen. He didn't tell you guys to get it passed. He said infiltrate his campaign and help him.
Yeah, so literally we just have to help him where we practically speaking can, and there is limited practical aid we can give him right now.
Because let's be honest, Tiberius has more influence in Rome than all of you combined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can literally just, like, at most we can be a +1, and we shouldn't stretch ourselves trying to be more than that. We can
Be there for him when he needs us.
So, but still, about the thing I said, would my influence and allies be helpful, or like would it be useless?
I would like you to roll your intelligence plus politics plus influence.
Okay. Intelligence plus politics plus influence. Can I spend a willpower?
Sure.
So there's going to be. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Okay. That would be like trying to hold back the tide.
Okay.
There's at least 200 Senate members, all of whom have more political influence than you do.
Yeah.
And a very large portion of them hate what is happening.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's not worth giving it a shot.
Yep. So, we'll skip forward a couple of weeks. the Senate does approve money. It's bound by tradition to do so, but it's an insultingly low amount. Like, clearly they pass this just to say, yeah, we gave you some money, now go away.
Okay.
So, it's like this for a couple months. But this time, Tiberius has really no way to fight it. However, soon word reaches you that the king of Pergamon, Attalus III, has died, and he has left his kingdom to Rome. Tiberius seizes this opportunity, even though, again, this is traditionally a Senate matter. He immediately takes it before the plebeian assembly to divide the money for his law.
So now that's gonna make things heated among the Senate, I guess.
So, those of you guys who have contacts, allies, and such amongst the common folk, feel free to roll your perception plus legerdemain plus your contacts / allies.
Plus context slash. I'm not going to attempt it. I don't think I have.
I will spend a willpower for it.
Does the vassal role work for this?
Sure. Absolutely.
Could help with this. Oh.
Nice. That's 3 success, right?
I got 3 because I spent a willpower.
What was the attribute again? Was it intelligence? or
Legerdemain. Intelligence, or sorry, it's perception and legerdemain.
Perception. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Hatchet, you're hearing some rumors, which I will get to in a moment. Nicodemus is really hearing a lot of stuff. More or less, word is coming out of the Senate and is starting to pick up and gain momentum amongst the people of the plebeian assembly. That Tiberius, even in the minds of the people, is overstepping his bounds. And in the eyes of the Senate and the optimates, he is looking more and more like he's setting himself up for a kingship.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Sorry, can you repeat it, please, Chris?
How about I have Hatchet and Nicodemus repeat that, because they will need to put it in their own words.
They're spinning it. They're spinning it to make him look like he wishes to be a king.
Because he's overstepping his legislative power.
Yeah, that's he did really take a risky and straightforward path. Okay, that's not good. Can we undone it?
Perhaps the best you can do is advise him to lay down a bit on this matter.
Follow
Work.
official channels.
I mean, let's be. Does he really have that option though? He's already gotten his plans approved, and well, frankly, he's essentially promised the public for this, and if he doesn't deliver, then they'll be even more angry at him.
Well, perhaps that right there is the problem.
Unless funds were to fall out of the sky, he's trapped. So, really, there's no use trying to convince him of anything, because he's probably considered this far more than we have.
Most definitely. Although you know the pride of the Romans and how they do not like to be under a king or tyrant. This might be a problem if this thing gets fueled even more by patricians.
As,
This will be a problem.
as I said, I suspect that eventually his actions will lead to what he wanted coming to pass, but it will also come at the cost of some other things he may not have wanted to sacrifice had he had a bird's eye view of the situation.
Is he aware of the rumors that are coming about him? Perhaps if he had to be made aware of it, he might take steps to defuse the situation.
Do we have some allies outside Rome that can financially help Tiberius? Anyone you owe boon to?
Ag-
We still have the boon to Olympia, I believe.
guys,
That's not the scope.
No, that's not what?
That's not the scope. I think Chris has really made a
Yeah,
point that it's impossible for us to assist in terms of
We-
coinage.
right now we need to. This is a case where we need to accept that with our limited resources, there's not much we can effectively do to, at least in terms of directly affecting what's going to happen. We can choose
Yeah.
how.
I agree to that. That's why I asked if anyone owes us a boon. Maybe someone that owes us a boon would have some good amount of money to help us. I don't know. I guess Olympia you said, right? Is that the event true we saved?
I suspect that even all the resources she could bring to bear wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, I think the thing is we just need to let things happen as they currently are. I mean, if Tiberius is true to his word, despite what they say about him, if they think he's going to take kingship, let him prove them wrong. The only way out of this.
Or, alternatively, he's a sacrificial lamb.
Sacrificial, huh?
What do you have in mind?
Oh, it isn't something that we need to do. If my instincts are correct, it will happen just as it goes. I believe Hector was speaking truthfully when he said that the situation will spiral. I suspect that he will die soon, and there is nothing we can do. There is nothing we could reasonably do about that. And I suspect that much chaos will result. But ultimately, it may well be what Rome needs. Rome, right now, is at a point to have something of a trial. It will be changed by what happens over the next few weeks, months, years, decades. It will be put to the test, and frankly, not only is our ability to influence that limited, to some extent, I'd say we almost don't have a right to influence it too much.
Let's try to think. Let's try to think on the future. Let's assume he dies, and as an aftermath of this spinning tale of him wanting a crown for himself, what do you think is gonna happen afterwards? What will happen with his reforms?
If he perishes and leaves a bad reputation behind him, his reforms will be a waste. If he perishes but leaves a good reputation, or or becomes a martyr, you name it, then surely his reforms will be kept. It must be kept. Or maybe the Senate will take the risk and still do not accept the reforms, cancel it. But it would surely would create a unstable aura, emotion among the plebeians.
Don't mind that.
Yeah, it would infuriate them. I guess we'll need to.
We
They might as well just not revoke them completely, but just let them like fade away without like a dead law or something.
How they even revoke it after the fines have been set up?
Well, at this stage, the funds are like very token like.
Yeah.
It will probably allow to fund several of the farms, and that's it. That's going to end. Someone needs to be taking his work forward to take over the mantle.
Actually, out of character, when is the next election?
In about 3 months.
Oh, that's very close.
So I think Tiberius will die eventually. We should just make sure when he dies, the common people, will still keep loving him. That way we can make sure that his reforms are not wasted, and there is still a substantial voice supporting these reforms.
Because when the next election comes up, we need to sort of have a look at who the opposition will be.
So, how are the common people reacting to the fact that the funds given by the Senate are so very poor, and how are they generally reacting to these accusations and Tiberius's actions?
There was a lot of upset at the Senate. However, the propaganda efforts as put forth by the Senate are beginning to have some effect. And it really took off when he usurped the duty of the Senate in allocating the funds left by the foreign king. Which, by the way, this was not an uncommon practice. Kings who died without an heir would routinely leave their stuff to Rome in order to prevent civil wars. And it was definitely the Senate's duty to allocate the lands and the money.
Right now, we're basically seeing a race to see who can destroy themselves the most, the fastest.
All right,
And
Agatha. At this point, a message for you is delivered. Your presence is needed to talk with Crethius and Valoronius, the two Ventru.
Okay. So, and what did those kinders also meant to me? I can remind it.
Well, these are two kindred who have invested in your arena idea.
Okay, gotcha. Sure, I will tell the group. These two kindreds wants my presence right now. I will go there. Yeah, if anyone wants to come, you are free to. But just know, I'm going now.
Okay. Roll me a D100, please.
Okay. 300. Okay. Let's
All
put
right.
the middle.
Your journey is uneventful.
Oh, cool. Nice.
They
You don't
meet
get
you.
ganked by werewolves.
That was actually one of the possibilities here.
Mm-hmm.
Because Albanasire has not forgotten, and neither have the werewolves.
Okay.
Neither has Labiano.
All right, so they meet you at the area of a money changer on the forum on the Palatine Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you remember Valoronius, a big fat fatty. He's got a bad attitude.
Yeah.
You haven't really talked with Crethius, though.
I don't remember.
Crethius is a tall, slim, dark-haired man with hair that is straight and hangs down to his shoulders, which is actually an anomaly amongst many of the slightly curly-haired men in this region. He has a very slim, narrow face, regal. You look at this man, and it's kind of the word that comes to mind: aristocratic.
Does he look outside from Rome?
Oh yes, he is not
The
Roman.
city?
He is not Roman. Not at all.
Okay. Yeah, figured from the hair and stuff like that. Gentlemen?
So they look at you, and they immediately, you can tell, they don't look happy.
Yeah.
They do not invite you to sit, which is unusual for the Ventru politeness.
Well, I'm a brewer.
They point to some counting mechanisms at the money changer's place,
Okay.
and they say, would you care to explain why your project is already 3 times over budget?
Does Agatha have a meaningful answer to that question?
How deeply have you been following it?
I would say not too deeply because I've been dealing with the Rome stuff, with the Coterie stuff.
Then
But
you
I
have
would still
then
have
you
some
have
decent look at it.
then you have only the most general knowledge that land has been cleared, construction has started, supplies are flowing to it, but it goes slowly.
Okay. Well, I've been busy with helping my Coterie, but as far as what I know, things has been going on slowly, but clearing, building, stuff like that has been going successful. Although I didn't really had much information about how the budget went. And triple the budget doesn't sound, well, good.
Your name was prominently attached to this when it was proposed to us. It was your guarantees on your good name that was trusted. Through you and Princeps Camillus, who backed your word on this. Your project is many thousands of denarii in debt already. Perhaps you can answer this question. Why are you building it in a swamp?
Agatha didn't know that was the building was on a swamp, right? He didn't know that. She didn't know that.
Well, like I said, you've barely kept up with it.
Yeah. She looks surprised as he says, well, uses the word swamp. She doesn't really hide it. Her one eyebrow raises and says, "Is it? Well, I simply didn't know that."
So you claim ignorance on all aspects of something that you managed to convince Princeps Camillus of your project. Forgive us if we are unconvinced by your words.
Of course, you are the investors. It is most rightful of you to think twice of things I say. But this is the truth. I was quite, as I said, busy with helping my country. Didn't really kept full attention of mine on the project. It is quite well. It seems that it was a bad act of mine to not do so. I didn't know it was built on swamp.
Well, then we'll make it clear. You will correct this issue. You will get the project going, you will do whatever it takes, or we will extract the payment owed from you. Is that perfectly clear?
Of course it is. It is perfectly clear and makes sense.
Good. Then our business here is finished.
Well, I wish you a good night, gentlemen.
Wait, one more thing. You have until the next election.
Sorry, we can repeat it, Chris?
You have until the election. You will fix the issues or you will make sure we are repaid, one way or the other.
I will invest most of my focus to this, gentlemen, I assure you. No worries. Have a good night.
What did I miss?
You missed Agatha get threatened with mob-style retribution.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, she then leaves, and well, now it is set what her goal is. First and foremost, goal is, which is now at putting much more attention on the building. If I will give like numbers, it will be about 75-80% of his attention, of her attention, to the building project. I'm making sure that she does as much as possible to get this swamp problem solved. I don't know how it's going to happen, but you can throw me the problem and I will solve it. I guess try to solve it.
Get a little angry at the builders.
Well, I guess we'll need to get some, I don't know, slaves and a little bit more blood put into the project, stuff like that.
Them.
Isn't that the old way? Isn't that how the pyramids built? They just use slaves and get enough bloodshed, and eventually succeed. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, Agatha will, as I said, will put her foremost attention to this building then. I don't know if she can do it from Rome, though. If she is to go to Capua.
All right. While she, Agatha, is at this meeting, you, the others, receive a surprise visitor at the Haven. It is a young venture by the name of Swan. I believe you will be familiar with her from a certain party that happened not too long ago.
Yeah, it's her. Mm-hmm.
Wait, the message taker?
No, the one who dominated us and did all the mess.
Right.
Ally of Hector.
Oh, that
Hang on a
went
minute.
wrong. She's
Unfortunately, Agatha's not there.
I think I know.
Presumably upset that we haven't been actively trying to deter Tiberius.
Well, we shall see.
I don't think so.
Or you shall
Let's see.
But
see.
we let her in. Yeah. Good
She
evening.
enters. She's quite polite, well mannered. She has no weapons on her. She's wearing a typical Roman garment of a brightly colored over cape. She arrived on a chariot with a driver. She's wearing, of course, sandals, a few bits of jewelry. She enters courteously. Thank you for receiving me. I appreciate your courtesy in allowing me to enter. Your courtesy in allowing me the hospitality of your haven for a few moments of time.
Of course. What can we do for you this evening?
I am here to speak with you about the recent events with Tiberius and your actions or perhaps worrying lack of action regarding them.
I have made a decision to not intervene with his goals.
As we said that we would consider the possibilities in what your other coterie member brought up to us, or if not coterie member then, let's just say co-worker. And while we felt it best to just generally allow things to take their course from this point. Is this an issue? Obviously you won't be entirely happy with that, but is this an exceptional issue for you?
Well, unfortunately, I have bad news for you. We have received word that there is an assassin headed for him tonight. An Assamite, a child of Hakim. It's up to you if you decide to defend him or not. We would not...
Why are you...
Oh, I'm sorry. Please, go on.
I'm curious, why are you telling us this?
Because Tiberius and his bloodline are of great importance to Rome. His father was a good man. He is a good man. His brother is a good man.
You want him stopped, not dead.
Yes, he would be... his loss would be a devastating blow to the future of this city.
Can I do an empathy roll to see if she's concerned for the city or if there is something more to it? If she's concerned about herself, she has some investment on.
Go right ahead. Difficulty 6, perception empathy.
Yeah, I want to analyze her emotions as well. I don't really think about the concern, but rather how truthful and honest is she when she states this. Uh,
I will do likewise.
Okay. How can I put this? I mean, wait for about the assassination or about her motivations.
I'm going to focus on the assassination.
All right.
And I fuck it up.
And that's a true botch.
You did it me earlier.
Okay.
What's a true watch? Oh yeah.
Catching.
All right, Hatshepsut. You are immediately overcome by the suspicion that she's paying for it.
for the assassination.
Yes, in Hatshepsut's mind, this bitch is paying for it.
Fine, she's hired the assassin herself.
Interesting.
On.
Well, no arrived, but not safer yet. She's letting others take the lead right now.
I'll be honest, like, well, do you happen to know anything about this Assamite assassin? Anything that we could be, well, wary of?
No, our contacts were only able to tell us that a child of Hakim was spotted heading this way and had departed the city of Florence a few nights ago. And if our travel calculations are correct, they could be here as soon as tonight or as late as next week. Lastly, if you are staying away, then surely you don't have anything to tell us about his future plans. There is some wild speculation that he's going to run for tribune again, and breaking more of our traditions.
We also heard the rumors that he might seek to make himself king. But that is all that we know about it. Rumors. I personally doubt that he would seek to do so. But
It's pure speculation.
As he has shown, the power of a tribune is like unto the power of a royal. It can be abused as such. You understand why we're worried.
you think that he is not going to be content with the power that he currently uses?
I think that if he declares that he is going to run for tribune again, then it's but a matter of time until he declares that he will be a tribune for life. And if that is the case, then it might as well be on you to let this assassin succeed.
We
I'm
shall-
curious. What do you plan to do about the assassin if well-being of Tiberius and his bloodline is so important?
Us? I'm doing what we intend to do. alerting those who have the chance to stop him.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm doing the only thing we can do. I'm alerting the only ones who actually have a chance to stop him.
Really? You really think so?
We can't
We're
get
the
that
only
close.
Oh, I'm sure you could. You're Marcus. Complete name. Well, Marcus
Octavius.
Octavius seems to be quite capable of. No. Hector. I meant Hector. Hector seems to be
Hector.
quite capable with his shadows. I'm sure he could manage.
It's not just a matter of physically showing up. It's a matter of coming and going relatively unchallenged.
We will look into this.
Along with him, there is this old woman that I believe is causing trouble, Hatshepsut. Is that correct?
Oh, that there's no need to discuss that right now.
Very well, if you do not think it is related to this assassin.
I mean, again, some things best discussed otherwise. But if you had nothing else, well, do you have anything else you wish to ask of us or inform us about?
I have said my piece.
Very well. Unless you wish to stay around for pleasantries, we shall not keep you. I'm sure you're a busy woman.
She nods respectfully and departs.
Once she's left, Hat will say, I suspect this is part of a gambit, but the question is, can we afford to just ignore it?
No, I do not think so. If this assassin strikes at Gracchus before he can finish his forms, everything will have been for nothing.
It's one thing if the Romans themselves. Yeah, as I said before, there's a certain point where we lose the right to decide how the Romans will face their trials. But if this Assamite may well be interfering himself.
What happens to the Romans is not relevant. What happens to us as a outcome, as a consequence of what happens to the Romans is what matters.
Very, very well. Looking at it more from the self-interest point of view, it's difficult to say. Hold on a second, I need to look something up real quick.
Ultimately, it just gives us one more thing we need to keep an eye on during our, well, I suppose, tenure with being associated with, involved with Tiberius.
To go that far to hire an Assamite. This is getting big.
If this Assamite is expecting to only face a human and his mortal guards, we are going to have the element of surprise on our side.
Do you really believe that? I think he fully there might be some kindred assistance. We have to assume he knows.
More likely he's here to target us.
What if there's no Asamite? And this is just a... And this is just... and this is just a ruse on their a ruse on their part to make us not interfere with perhaps there's just a, I don't know, a riot, an assassination, a normal assassination.
That thought had crossed my mind as well. If you recall, Hector tried to do a similar thing.
Not effort to ignore this. If we ignore this, the human guards that he has around him will not be able to stop an Asamite.
Look, if we're not interfering, probably the yeah, exactly. In fact, I think that if it happens, only only Tiberius dies and no one else, because an Asamite will keep his work clean. If we get involved, we'll also have to deal with the breach of Masquerade, because it's going to get bloody.
Indeed.
The Masquerade is secondary to accomplishing your mission. Breaches can be dealt with. The death of Gracchus cannot, unless Lapiana has gotten more proficient in arts, of course, than what I have been aware of.
So I'm just imagining now, like, well, a Salubri with that 1.9 power, like, being around when a major political assassination happens and the assassin leaves and it's like, okay, fix. And the assassin's just like, what? I saw him die! How? That would be it would be interesting to anyway, I'm babbling.
Let's consider what are our options. We may, of course, try and stop. We may, of course, try and stop Tiberius, or maybe we could at least try to salvage his family, because they will carry on his work. Maybe.
Indeed, his brother and his father.
Because it's ultimately interesting that even if we save him, what happens next? They're just going to send more assassins to get this one guy out. Maybe they'll try something else. Tiberius has sparked the ire, and his mistake was being very blunt about doing his things. I'm not saying I know how to do it differently, but the fact is that he has crossed some threshold with which he's just being a target right now.
Perhaps we could take from the playbook of some of our former rivals. Perhaps, and if we really wish to interfere with this, well, It'll be hard to kill him if it'll be hard for the Assamite to kill him if he's already dead.
What are you
You want, you
suggesting?
want you want to stage an assassination before it happens?
Quite possibly. I'm just throwing the idea out there. If we can control when he dies, then we can control, well, what the death looks like, and that while we won't have complete control over the effect it will have, we can at least nudge them. Again,
Seem
this
like-
is assuming we. Again, this is assuming we wish to get involved.
Make it seem like one of his enemies in the Senate has been the one behind it. I like it. I think that should be quite doable. I should be even able to alternate the memories of one of his enemies to make him think that he did it.
It would be a shame to see such a man die. Regardless of any. Such a spark of conviction is always interesting to see, but I do not know. I am still uncertain about digging too much into this, but if the rest of you truly wish to get involved, then I will support, I suppose.
I guess the real question is, how do we fool the Assamite?
We don't need to fool him, we just need to be faster than him.
And then control the flow of information thereafter.
To be clear, Nicodemus, if we go with this strategy, I'm not suggesting we fake his death.
Oh, we know.
I just want to be clear with Nicodemus.
I mean, the idea is to make a martyr out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Though, of course, if Camillus learns about this, while he's given us a lot of leeway with precisely what we do, there is also the fact that actively killing him ourselves is probably breaching his task.
I don't like this. I cannot say that there isn't merit in this resolution, and in fact, we should plan for a contingency of his death. If he gets assassinated, we should be ready to plant evidence to blame someone from the Senate and paint the picture of them breaking the sanctity of the tribune's office and spitting the kingship tail back at them.
Actually, here's a question, Chris.
Go ahead.
What is the general rules around in Camillus's domain around how much vampires can interfere with mortal politics? Like,
Oh, they do it all the time.
is the fact that
All
but like
the
so
time.
yeah, but I mean more in terms of hiring a vampire assassin to take out a prominent mortal politician. Is that maybe would that be considered all a bit much?
I mean, the way Camillus got his power was by he uses ghoul proxies and essentially launders money through a few families of his, and he influences and essentially buys elections. And that's how he has all of his influence in Rome. He is the money lender and power behind many a throne in Rome, behind many families. And by doing it that way, when he says, he literally has the goal of directing Rome from the shadows. He wants to be Rome's shadow king. Or at least he did when he started this whole journey. He doesn't want to do that anymore.
I'm just thinking, how would he react if we told him about this? That is also an option.
Told him about what? About the assassination. Oh, I mean, they should just tell us that it's all issue to deal with, I imagine. That we are the one that he has tasked to deal with that. If you mean tell him about the plan to kill
Oh,
Gracchus and
I do not think it would be a good idea to tell him that that's crossed our minds. But it's hard to tell sometimes. The wheels within wheels of elder politics can make it hard to predict. Theoretically, it could be that he would be desperate enough to prevent this to come to pass that he would assign additional resources, or it might not matter that. It might not be that important to him. Who can say?
Okay, here's a stupid question. Was it ever going to be at all possible to ask the Princeps to assist with the whole financial thing, Tiberius's plan?
Even he alone doesn't have that much money.
Not to mention that probably there's also a reason for why we're doing this and not him.
My guess, if I were to make a guess, it'd be a case of he genuinely does want Tiberius to succeed, but not so much that he's willing to risk too many of his assets on it.
Exactly.
That sounds like a venture.
Not to mention that in the way he is at the liability to denounce his involvement in this.
Of course.
Not that he needs
it wouldn't be
as a
direct
prince.
by any means. It was just a thought. In any case, back to the matter at hand.
So I suppose this is the. Let's try working step by step here. Do we want to prevent this assassination?
How would we go about it? That would be my question.
Well, we'll do it a step at a time.
How much do we know about Assamites? Out of character, I'm actually trying to think about how much Labiena would actually know about Assamites. Whether she's read up on them at any stage.
I believe you would want to roll intelligence plus occult at difficulty 7.
Out of character, we know enough about Assamites that they killed me instantly and they hurt Nicodemus a lot, and they hurt my second character a lot too. That's what we know so far.
Nicodemus and Albina had Assamite as the part of the coterie a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was intelligent.
We didn't know he was an Assamite though.
It's occult.
Yes, in character, you guys know several things. You know about their speed. You don't know all that they can do with their discipline, but you know at a minimum they can coat their blades with some sort of acidic poison. You know that they have obfuscate.
What was the difficulty?
7. So you know all of these things in character already. All right, Labiana, through conversations, you also know that they are from somewhere in the Middle or Near East. Their exact location, they don't even really like to give a general geographic region, but you know it's somewhere in the Middle East or Near East, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, somewhere in that region.
You know what? I might as well throw my hand in trying to figure this out. Would I get a modifier from slightly closer proximity or no?
Actually, yes, your difficulty is 6.
That was intelligence occult, right?
Correct.
Actually, I was just going to say, I do wonder if I'd there.
Ooh.
On 10, which would have made it 3 successes.
All right. Hatshepsut, followers of Set and the Children of Hakim have a long-running feud,
Yeah.
and the reason for that is the Children of Hakim are judges first and foremost. They are judge and they are executioner. And the followers of Set, as you very well know, are dedicated to loosening the bonds of civilization. And the Children of Hakim are the direct opposite. They are where the Ventru create order out of chaos. The Children of Hakim are the bindings that are used. They're the rope that holds it together. They are the ones that that take away those that would destroy such order.
In another life, the Setites, in another world, the Setites and Assamites may well have been complementary, but that's not the world we live in.
So that is the history behind why, and you know this. You know exactly that. That traditionally, the Children of Hakim are not. They're not assassins. They are judges.
Yeah, actually, that. Okay, so is there anything else you wish to bring up, or because that does give me something to think about.
At 4 successes, you've heard of Urshulgi.
And presumably not to ever get anywhere near him.
Yes, exactly. You can be
So, yeah.
you can be 100% sure he is not here,
Yeah.
and he's not coming.
And if he was, I'd probably be doubling down. I'd probably be suddenly suggesting plans to leave Rome, twofold. But no. So yeah, after a moment's thought, how will actually frown a bit. In as if something's just crossed her mind. This isn't actually generally usual behavior for the Assamites, I wouldn't think.
What do you mean?
They tend not to be about selling their skills as killers for a profit. They are usually more about using them for specific causes that they care about. They tend to, well, being quite blunt, they tend to oppose a lot of my own clan's dealings. They see themselves as strengtheners of order, where we attempt to get the reins relaxed.
Good to know.
But
Don't know.
this just brings up the whole thing of why is this Assamite attacking?
believe that by killing him, he can avoid the chaos that he's going to create with his reforms.
It would seem unusual for him to. From the sounds of it, he's travelled a fair distance, though, which is the other concerning thing.
Maybe he's not just after the mortal then. Our original guess was that he's after us, but why? Oh, what about your friend?
I was gonna say maybe we should see if we can find out who hired this Assamite, and that might give us some answers.
Look, the black-skinned woman. What's the deal?
The bold woman. Alright, I suppose I owe enough to give a brief. I suppose it can't hurt to give a brief idea, as it's related to the as it's potentially related. But I've had suspicions, not anything I can confirm, that she is related to the followers of Osiris, who are not on the best are also not on the best terms with my clan. But I suppose it's possible if she was, that she could have pulled some strings, but the Osirans tend to be very absolutist about their not necessarily trying to kill every vampire they meet, but not seeing them as definitely not being keen to work with them, let's say. But stranger things have happened as well, so
Well, we can't discount anything at this point.
I guess the real question is, how does she and the Assamite interact? Was he sent because of her?
I feel it's unlikely, but I'm not prepared to completely discount the idea.
Perhaps we should warn about it and let her take care of this. If she fails and dies, oh well. If she succeeds, good.
Alright, I think I need to try my hand at consulting higher sources. What's the weather like, Chris?
Good question. It is nasty outside.
Alright, I'm gonna need to make that willpower roll then.
Yeah, it's raining, kind of chilly.
Diff to
Oh,
Diff
yeah,
to
weather.
clear
I'm
skies.
looking. Weather control. Weather control. Power over storms. Yeah, so it's going to be level 3, high winds. So you're going to need to calm the winds and get rid of the rain.
I think that's Diff 6.
Yep. So yeah, diff 6.
To suck.
Right. It takes an hour or so. The wind dies down immediately, and the rain tapers to a stop, and then the clouds gradually clear.
Alright, and I believe first it's a perception, half wisdom, then intelligence, enigmas.
Yes, because first you have to read, and then you have to interpret.
Yeah. Two successes
Okay.
on the
So add 1 additional dice to your enigmas roll.
Damn it!
The stars are silent tonight.
Curses. Oh well, was worth a shot.
Do you not have a specialty in your role?
I guess I should check, just to make sure. Well, would the area of expertise of that I have to assign to half wisdom by default count as a specialty for this purpose?
No.
Okay, then probably not. My specialties for intelligence are creative and book knowledge.
Yeah, probably not gonna work out this one.
Oh well. Even the stars offer no answers tonight, it seems.
Shall we seek out to warn this child of Osiris?
Oh no, warning her is assuming she even is one. That is definitely not a good idea. If she hasn't already figured out my clan, my presence in the city, then I would not be of a mind to indicate it to her.
You do not need to make your clan know to her.
I there's a good chance that she will get suspicious, but either way, it's hard. It's difficult to know how she would respond in the first place, and it just adds a whole additional layer of mess that.
Maybe just a vague warning without details.
Perhaps but if I will be blunt, if as a group we wish this to be a message made, I do not think I should be the one to deliver it. And it is also worth reminding that while I suspect she may be an Osiran, I have no real proof.
My suggestion was to deliver it anonymously. Specifically to her, that would be telling. Because obviously, Gracchus probably gets tons of letters saying that there's danger looming this night and that.
Here's a question, Chris. With the number of times I've seen her, would I have good enough, be familiar enough to target her with a scrying ritual?
Well, let's look that up. Do you need to have something that belongs to them for that?
I am checking. It's okay. Yes, I would. So no. Wait. Okay, this is a real long shot, but actually no, it's probably been long enough that it doesn't count as hers anymore, even if it is still around and originally belonged to her. Well, you know what? We're throwing things at the wall here anyway. Is that amulet still around?
I thought you did something to that thing when you were analyzing it. Thought you like half destroyed it.
That is true. I desecrated it, but though I wouldn't necessarily have thrown it away, but again, there's a good chance that was enough to break the link. But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Oh well, live and learn. So,
Well, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do to hurry you guys along. So,
yeah. We. God damn it. Alright. I'm just gonna. You know what? I'm gonna call a vote. Who's in favor of trying to get her informed?
Abner raises her hand.
Nicodemus as well.
But wait, what are we doing?
Informing the bold one who may be a supernatural enemy of mine, well, not me as a person, but my own faction, or may just be an ordinary woman, or maybe something else entirely, about the Asmite, vaguely about a supernatural assassin coming for Gracchus.
Suppose it can't hurt.
If we deliver
Maybe
it
it can.
anonymously, I don't think we're going to be affected in any way.
Well, if I'm certain, didn't Labiena? Oh no, Labiena wasn't there, was she?
Can't you
Awesome.
send one of your homunculi to deliver the message?
No, they don't work that way. So I believe I have to be.
I
They
can
have to be
send.
within 100, 200 meters or something. They can't travel any further than that. If they do, they'll be effectively out of range.
I can send a dominated mortal as a messenger, wipe his memories from whatever I tell him, make him think he's doing this out of his own will.
Or if you can find her room, you could always use your
Sleep inside and deliver the message there. Yes.
just plant a letter, perhaps even.
Yeah.
Want to have a ghoul or a retainer?
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
When was the assassin scheduled to appear? Was it this night or the next?
This night
sometime
or
between tonight
was
and the next
anytime
couple, depending on how fast he's moving.
Oh.
Yeah.
And if we want to go this route, and here's a question that might be relevant if we want to go full paranoid on this. I have a ritual that lets me enchant some objects to do mundane tasks like writing things. Would they share my handwriting? I'm sorry, I'm just.
I don't think so. I think it would be such a sort of generic, like the kind of handwriting you'd see in a primer.
All right. So if we want to go full like paranoia on this, we can also get so that they can't identify us by handwriting. Noted.
Or, the fact that we can touch something, it's really an Archspec's power that lets you do it. So perhaps we can hire a mortal we can dominate a mortal to write the letter for us. Oh, well, shit. We still need to deliver it somehow.
Yeah.
If we're going this route, then the delivering part is unavoidable. I think All right. If we want to try and alert her, I think there's only so much we can do to try and protect ourselves in this scenario. But get a letter written. Have Albina in shadow form track down her own chambers, slip it in while she's not there, get out, and just hope for the best, really.
Is it the only thing? Yeah, let's do this. Is this the only thing we're going to do?
I suppose while she's there, she could also try and find a personal object that won't be missed that I could use for future spying rituals. Maybe get one from Gracchus as well.
I mean, that could be beneficial for me as well if, if needed. Let's just leave those as backups, however.
Okay.
And beyond that,
Mm-hmm.
I think beyond that, our only option, however, is to physically be there.
We intend to try and protect him then.
I don't know, do we?
I can say that I would wish to, but I keep wondering about the repercussions.
I mean, even if we just try to talk to them.
Well, what's your final answer here? What would you like to do?
All right. My final proposal on our courses of action is do the whole letter delivery scheme to get so that she's aware of stuff going on, and then also try and in fact, we may, you know what, if we're going to be there in person, we might as well just tell her in person. One of us tell her in person, but and then try to whether explicitly for this reason or for a different reason, convince him to allow us, basically find an excuse to be around him throughout the next week or so, to so that we have a chance of being there when the Assamite strikes.
Okay. I'm not hearing any major objections to this plan.
Nope, I like it.
All right.
And let's plan for a contingency that the Assamite succeeds. What would be the best way to spin this as a Senate assassination? Would it be a good course of action to blame it on the patricians and make them a martyr? What kind of stuff we would need to plant there so that they believe it?
If you can get a heirloom from one of the on the patrician families and put it there, and perhaps if we can dominate one of them into writing a confession of sorts.
The confession angle is probably better, unless we specifically get a knife heirloom, a weapon heirloom. They're probably going to make assumptions that, well, or no, the heirloom will just raise more questions. Why would the assassin take a ring to the scene of the crime, for example?
Or
Not necessarily. If it may have just fallen off their finger.
I suppose if the assassin is the senator himself, then yes, that is also a possibility.
which is unrealistic because you would hire professional people for this.
True.
Nothing seems like.
Because often the most glaring evidence is usually planted, so we'd have to be very subtle about it. If possible.
Don't overthink that. There's no forensic investigations, no crime scene analysis.
Still,
Uh,
I suppose
so
I'm
long
thinking
as
about
it's
it from
not
a
everything
kindred point of view.
obviously out of place, they'll probably buy it. So long as it's not something like, okay, why on earth would there be I don't know.
As long
a
as it's not a
family-
signed confession, I hereby announce the killing this person, and I'm going to leave this letter here at the scene of the crime. Like, yeah, they're not going to buy that, but
Yes, like, no. They're not. It'd have to be
Here's an idea.
realistic.
Here's an idea. If we're going with a dominate plan, instructions to the assassin.
Instructions to the assassin. So like implant memories that he did it.
Or basically write out the sort of note that an assassin might get in a dead drop, for example, of this is who you need to kill.
Convince him that he was in fact working for the Senate all along.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a valuable heirloom that might be used in payment, and ideally, if you can handle both the write-up and dominate, both the dominate and the memory wipe afterwards. Some appropriately vague that it won't be like suspicious, but still nonetheless, clear in intent. Instructions of that could conceivably fall out of a perhaps clumsier assassin's pocket. During a struggle.
So it sounds like your first step is to find somebody who can write the letter.
Pretty much.
As a back, yeah.
And
If the assassination actually goes
really,
down.
we should have this be going on. We should also be having at least some of us off to protect him while we're making these contingency plans.
All right.
Okay.
Who's doing the dominating and finding the letter writing, and who's going off to protect, and how are you doing it?
I'll do the dominating.
Okay.
I'm gonna be doing the I'll be aiding with the protecting.
Is it possible to do protecting behind the scenes?
Just kind of, you'd have to be basically off of his property, out in the street. Like you're gonna have to physically be there.
Hmm.
Unless you would try to somehow intercept this guy on the outside of the property.
Which will be very difficult.
Know how it could be of use here. Better staying out of the way.
Not think that should be possible to intercept the Assamite outside the property, the amount of routes you'd be able to take in inside.
I just had a
They
thought.
will-
It would be easy to fake his death because I could literally make him look like a corpse.
That adds some more complications. Um,
Yeah, no, I was just referring to my level 1 power in Corpse and the Monster. Horses.
okay. One additional note I will make is that actually, would that be practical? Fuck it. We need to take all the possibilities we can get. When possible, I'm going to try and keep it so that the weather around the area is at high winds, so that we'll still be able to see the assassin if they're coming, but they'll have more difficulty if they try to use a ranged weapon.
All right. Well, you don't have to do anything; it just does. So until it starts to drop off. All right. So Albina, the difficulty here is going to be find somebody who can write and not look like a fool doing it.
Okay.
Alternatively, you might find a senator who's well known for being a fool.
If possible, if you have some form of professional writer, I do not know the English name for it, but the guy that would write letters for rich people that
A
is
scribe.
A scribe?
Yes,
Ah,
that.
that is an extremely good idea. And as a result of having that extremely good idea, I'm going to make this easy. Manipulation plus seneschal plus your resources background.
Okay.
At difficulty 5.
6 because of the +1 from lack of seneschal.
Man, Lucius would have had the perfect rifle for that.
All comes back to Lucius.
Yeah.
Okay. You found a guy who's willing to get up in the middle of the night and do this for you for the right price, which you have. Now just to wipe his memory.
Yes.
Which is going to be wits plus subterfuge.
Very dirty was
Just roll at diff 6. I'm not going to tell you the actual difficulty, just roll at 6 for me.
Okay, now I'm getting suspicious. The dice seems to be favoring us all of a sudden.
Don't jinx us.
It's going to flop
Alright.
in the middle of the fight if you ask me, don't worry.
You are 100% certain that he only remembers writing a letter for you to your mother.
Wonderful.
That works. That works.
You
takes the
take it all
letter.
up. All right, you got yourself a letter. All right, those of you going to protect, Agatha, are you in on this?
Oops. So here's a question. If I help with protecting, can I still focus on my building project? Or is it going to prevent
That's
me?
only a night or two of effort on your part before you head off to Capua.
Okay. Then yes, I will do the protecting. Now here's a question. Would it be suspicious or hindering a complication if I wear my armor?
Oh, it'd be very suspicious.
Okay, yeah, we can't have that going on. Then I'm going to do the protecting with heavy clothing as usual, just in case,
All right.
I guess that's the little of the protection I can get against the Samite.
Those of you guys going, you travel to his villa. You notice it has The security has increased. The weather is still kind of crappy outside. You are shown through the gate, of course.
Labian, of course, waits outside the gates.
Labian is waiting outside. Okay. Well, that eliminates one complication.
Mm-hmm.
So, Agatha, Hatshepsut, and Nicodemus are shown in. You are given some towels to dry off. You are stood next to the fireplace to warm up from the crappy weather outside. You notice the family altar of Venus is still in place. Do any of you guys offer the appropriate offerings to it? Make the appropriate prayer?
I will do it.
We need
Why not?
we need to look
Uh,
trustworthy right
Yes.
now.
But I'm going to do it after Nicodemus and Het, because I'm not really good at religion, so I'm just going to try to copy paste what they do
Yeah,
rather than go
Sneaky.
with my own style.
a good idea. It's pretty easy. It's a quick, mumbled prayer. Dip your fingers in the olive oil. Make a little symbol. Eventually, you're shown in to the public gathering room. Tiberius is there. It's quite late at night, actually. You're talking probably 11:30, midnight. He
Okay.
he is in his night clothes. Looks like he was getting ready for bed. His scribe is there, who is dressed still in her work attire, with her tools of the trade, as it were. Of course, his lictors are there. And he says, so what brings my clients around so late at night? This is unconventional.
All right, important out of character question. What's the general Roman reaction to people who claim to have any sort of familiarity with supernatural shit?
Pragmatic acceptance.
Okay. So, first off, since we need to take all the bets we can get, I'm going to try and use ore to sell my pitch here, help sell my pitch here, giving an aura of wisdom and awareness that basically I know what I'm talking about.
You need to choose one word.
Okay.
I guess knowledgeable then. Does that work?
Yeah.
I'm going to spend a willpower to make sure it gets through because, as I said, I'm not taking any chances right now. And okay, I've got an idea.
So, charisma plus performance, diff 7, please. Spend a blood point,
yes.
roll.
Okay, so while Het does this, while Labian is outside, I should have mentioned this before, Labian has kind of scattered her,
Homunculus.
covertly, of course,
Yeah.
her homunculi with her around the place to keep an eye out, scope out the place.
Don't forget to use your aspects to see hidden, obfuscated, and otherwise supernaturally hidden stuff, guys. Keep an eye on that. Don't forget.
Of course.
Right. Hatshepsut, or sorry, not Hatshepsut, Labiana, roll me perception plus awareness. Because of the rain and high winds, it's going to be difficulty 8.
Fair enough. Perception awareness, diff 8.
Are you using aspects?
I certainly hope not.
No. It's a general perception plus awareness. Oof.
That's all right.
To have spent
There
willpower.
are a few people still moving around in this crappy weather. What rags and stuff they can gather against the weather is bundled up against them as they hurry about their business. Right. So go ahead, Hatchet.
I wish the tidings I come to you with could be wholly positive, but well, I I want to avoid drawing this out too much. You'll remember. I trust you remember the unfortunate situation when we first met you of the one who had so maliciously infiltrated us.
Oh yes, the one with the evil spirit inside of her. Yes, the cursed one.
I've had ill feelings ever since that event, and I've been doing some looking into things, and I have reason to fear that a similar sort of malady may attempt to strike you within this week. I well, I've already said it, and while I'm not, while I'm certain your guards are the security you've hired is more than enough for most things, these kinds of matters require a bit of additional knowledge and I was wondering if you would allow us to be near you over the next few nights to lend our services in case the worst fears happen.
Nicodemus and Hatchet and Agatha would please roll your perception plus awareness, sight based. It is actually safe for you guys to use auspex in this house. It's quite well constructed.
Mm-hmm.
This is either really clever or really dumb. I'm not sure which.
Oh,
6, 2, 3.
Okay.
Abort.
Hatshepsut and Nicodemus, you have the flutter of a moment's warning as a strip of cloth that was not there before is suddenly there in the corner of the room, and a knife goes flying through the air at the tribune. His scribe leaps in the way and it strikes her in the upper arm area, and she tackles him to the floor. Boom! They both hit, and they roll under the table.
All right, I guess that's our cue.
Agatha,
So here's a
unfortunately, I would like you to please roll your dexterity and athletics.
question. Not full.
We're going to be at difficulty 7.
Okay. Dexterity.
Is there
So-
room for buffing it, or is it?
That was
happening too
a surprise action.
The difficulty what?
7, please.
Does Lobby Anna hear any of this from outside?
Where are your homunoculi? It just gives you
They're
supernatural
scattered.
awareness, doesn't it? Anything within 100 yards, right?
Pretty much.
I don't.
Others roll too.
Well,
Dexterity.
so long as they are, well, they can only travel 100 yards.
No,
from
I
me.
just need Agatha to roll that dexterity athletics roll.
Oh.
Yeah, so Agatha, that was to avoid falling in the fire thanks to your botch.
Okay. So do I do it gracefully? Do I dodge it gracefully?
You don't do
Comes up 5
anything. You
seconds.
just. It was a what the fuck was that? Oh shit! And then you fall in the fire. But fortunately, you didn't fall in the fire, so you're good.
Okay. I'm surprised. I guess this seems like a cutting point. I'm not sure. Are we going to fight this session?
I hmm. If
Can you
we
continue ahead?
if we do, it's hard to say. If we do start the fight
Okay.
now, I'm
The Hominoculus can only see what is going on around it. So unless there is one in the room with you, then you cannot see this, Laviana.
Wait, I just asked if she could hear anything from outside.
No,
even
there's
if
been
it's-
no alarm raised.
Right.
All right. Hatshepsut, Nicodemus, Agatha. Give me a quick D10 roll.
Yes, initiative. Or not, I don't know. Oh, finally! I rolled
All right.
10. Finally.
What's your dex and wits and celerity?
My dexterity plus wits and celerity is 8. Total 8. Celerity,
Okay.
dexterity, wits. So
Didn't
that's
quite make
18.
it. All right.
Still possible for her to, every now and again, like, continue to, observe her surroundings.
Yep. You're
Periodically.
got an eye on things. The assassin leaps across the table, gets behind Hatshepsut, sticks a knife up to her throat, and is using her as a shield as he backs out of the room.
Sorry, to whom is he holding?
Hatshepsut.
Hatshepsut.
Okay, Hatshepsut. Okay.
And he's dragging her out of the room with a knife to her throat. Now, this guy looks, he's clothed in rags like a beggar. He's got rags all over him, kind of around his face. You can't really see what he looks like, but you do see a very large and wickedly curved and black-coated knife is being held up to Hatshepsut's throat. As he's got her, and he's doing the classic, you can't come any closer, I'm going to kill you, hostage maneuver.
Yeah. Can we do something?
Sure. What would you like to do?
I want to dread gaze him.
oh god.
Okay, make your roll.
Yeah, I have to
Make
check
your roll.
the rules because I don't know what to roll. I have to check the
I
rules.
believe it's
Intimidation.
charisma intimidation.
Difficulty of his wit plus courage.
Okay. Let me open my sheet. Charisma, intimidation. Can I spend the willpower?
Yeah, go right ahead. Diff 9, please.
God, if only he grabbed Albina, then we'd have the perfect solution to this. Albeit Masquerade breach.
Diff 9, okay. That is 0 success.
Oh,
Well, it's not.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just a failure.
spent a willpower, so now it's just a failure.
Yeah.
I'll fail, yeah.
But
Thank goodness for the willpower.
What was the difficulty on this? Was it
9.
8? 9.
9.
Oh.
Difficulty of his wits
Yeah.
plus courage.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
No.
So
definitely a
Hatshepsut,
courageous
he's dragging
person.
you backwards,
High
and you
profile.
see Agatha. Fortunately, this somehow does not affect you. Pulls up, winds up, hisses, bares her fangs, big fang. And all the lictors in the room are like, just about shitting their pants, almost literally. Good thing they're wearing brown.
Boy. Masquerade breach, right?
All right.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I don't know. We're
Someone's
talking
gonna
about
need to
it?
do a
Are we
memory
gonna
wipe
do
on
it
them
like,
later.
yeah.
Alternatively, I don't know. Gracchus right now has a limited view of things, so I don't know. If we're lucky, we can just kill them all and blame the assassin.
All right. Nicodemus, he's dragging Hatshepsut out of the room. What are you doing?
Like the Sabat would do.
Just gonna wait until. Shit. Gonna wait until he has broken line of sight and then slip into obfuscate and then try to sneak out after him.
Okay. Not a
After
problem.
both of-
All right. Hatshepsut, he's
buffing
dragging you
dexterity.
out. What are you doing?
I'm going to be. obviously not taking a deep breath because I'll probably get the knife up again, even closer to my neck. But trying to calm myself, move along for now, and just from my limited vantage point, try and pick up as much as I can about what he looks like and stuff.
All right.
Again,
so
from my limited vantage point.
yeah, you really don't have a view of anything, really.
Is there a mirror in the room?
Not good enough to see that much, anyways.
Okay.
Not that big either.
Um,
All right, so he drags
I-
you back,
Mhm.
gets close to the doorway, and then you feel him let go and put his foot in your back and kick you away fucking hard. Like boom, kicks you away back through the doorway. And then you hear the door open up and slams. Labiena,
What's that?
a figure
Yeah.
clad in rags jumps, essentially opens and slams the door behind him. And you see this figure speed across the lawn and jump in one motion, jump the wall before the guards can stop him.
Yeah, that's the ARLtR. That's I'm out of here for you, which I love to do.
Right.
Well, this has at least gone better than our last attempt at
This
assassination.
is at least not a combat, and we successfully accomplished our mission. Keep Tiberius safe.
For now.
Right.
Actually, keep an eye
yeah.
on him in case this is a distraction. Now we gotta deal with the people.
Yeah.
The rest of you guys see 4 very large, burly men pull out axes and begin to advance on Agatha.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I already did a Masquerade breach. I will activate Majesty and just wait for Albina to arrive. I'm gonna activate Majesty. And tell them, calm down everyone. I got this handled.
So wait, were these the guards that were outside?
No,
Just before?
these are his personal guards for being a tribune.
I'm going to try and spin a story that it was as horrifying as it seemed. It was a specific technique to try and drive the creature away.
Something very funny happens. You activate Majesty. You spend a willpower point. The men pause, and they don't stop advancing on you. They pause for a second, and as you guys are like, wait, it was, and you're trying to spin the story, they ready their axes, and then you see Agatha's Majesty, which you cannot avoid. And the men barely even pause when they begin advancing on her.
Oh, shit. Okay. So Majesty doesn't work on them. That means
They've been
either it
dominated,
is.
haven't they?
Maybe they cannot be dominated too. But either case, this is either run away or try to talk out of it
This sounds
without magic.
suspiciously like dominate.
Okay.
Alban is over in a completely different part of the city. We don't have Dominate at our disposal for this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I fucked it up, but okay. You know what? I already fucked it up, right? Right. Come on, guys. I'm going to boost my dexterity and get out from here, if it's doable.
Yeah, they can't stop you. You can run.
Yeah, I'm just gonna boost dexterity and run away, just like the Asamite did.
So
Okay.
yeah, Agatha blows this pop stand.
What do the guards do when they are confronted with supernatural speed and departing Agatha?
Oh, they're left in the dust. they're like they start advancing on her, and Agatha just goes boom, I'm out of here, pow, and she explodes away. They run after her at mortal speed and bar the door behind her. And the two of them do, and the other two run back and check on Tiberius. They grab the table, shove it out of their way, and get to look at Tiberius and his secretary.
What's their status?
Tiberius is fine, shaken but fine. His secretary, not so much.
Well, if she is what I think she was, she'll get better.
Well,
If not, then sucks to be her.
there's a knife sticking out of her arm and black lines spreading across her arm and shoulder, and she's already sweating heavily.
Poison.
Is there anything that Nicodemus can do to help her?
Yes, there is. You carry a medical bag with you pretty much at all times, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to reveal myself.
Yeah, in the
so that
chaos,
they can
in the
see
chaos,
my
they'd never even
approach.
noticed that you did that.
And he's going to try and approach her and say in a calm tone, "Please, allow me to assist with this wound."
I'm gonna make a show of doing some things that seem like they could be wardings, not actual wardings, but to try and, after the issues with Agatha, try and reaffirm that no, we're not here to attack. We're trying to help.
All right.
Now, I think,
I'm looking to
I
see
don't
if
know
there's
if
any.
I don't know
All right,
if this is a
so
good idea,
you're
but
going to roll. First thing you're going to roll is intelligence and medicine.
To figure this one out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
don't know if
yeah,
this
you're going to
is
make
such a
3
good idea,
rolls. It's going to be
but,
intelligence medicine, dex medicine.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
no.
And plus medicine.
Now, after Labiana sees the assassin sort
Okay.
of make a run for it, I don't know if she would have seen Agatha make a run for it as well. I presume she would have.
Yes, you would have.
She's gonna send one of her
Oh, Jesus. What the
homunculi,
hell?
most likely the eye, covertly inside just to see what's going on.
Okay. All right,
Just to see if they may need
Labiana,
any
you're
assistance.
good to go. The eye can begin crawling inside.
Wow.
Nicodemus, this is
What
a
a
poison
massacre.
for which there is no cure. You think she's going to lose the arm. It might be better to cut it off now before it spreads to the rest of her body.
Oof.
I assume there is. I assume there is no. There's no way to. To go about. Okay, that's not a roll to be rerolled, right?
So that's not a roll to be re-rolled. But quick, intelligence medicine.
Let's try and do this with willpower. To
Yeah.
really.
To be honest, even if it stopped the spread of the poison, at this point, cutting off her arm will probably just send her into shock.
Well, there
All right.
you go.
All right.
That's the way to counteract.
You can cut her arm off before it spreads too far. Now you just have to do it real quick before she can react. You start shouting to the guards, "Hold her down! Hold her down! I gotta cut it off before it spreads to her heart! Quickly, quickly!"
Okay.
Give me a
yeah.
charisma and medicine roll.
Charisma and medicine.
Yes, charisma leadership, sound commanding.
Oh man.
Can I assist in this?
Charisma. 4, 5.
You can assist by leaping to his bidding.
Burning through willpower, I clear crazy.
Hey, 2 successes. One of the
This is the
guys,
time.
one of the guys jumps on her and holds her legs down, legs and hips.
Just one of them?
Yeah, just one. Hatshepsut, I assume you help.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you land on her
Fuck it.
back. You land on her back and neck. Nicodemus, you hold her arm out real quick, and she's like, "No!" She's screaming out, "No! Don't cut off my arm! No!" Give me a Dex medicine roll.
It's the only way.
Yep, Dex medicine.
Do you want to live?
You wanna live or die?
It really says something that, again, this is the more successful of our attempts to stop an assassination.
Yeah. So you grab the axe. You grab the man's ceremonial weapon because it's nice and sharp and heavy. Chop it down. Dex medicine, please. That's 3. You sever. Whack. You sever it. Roll the tendons out. Give me one more. Give me one more Dex medicine roll to close the wound up. Oh, perfect, man. She you grab some string, you rip a tourniquet on her. You quickly mix up all the medicines and poultices you need. You slap it on her, and you grab a quick brand out of the fireplace. Whoosh, sear the wound shut. Ah, she screams and passes out. She passes out from pain. And you see the arm is the poison is now eating away the flesh of the arm that you cut off of her and threw to the side.
At least that's evidence I wasn't wrong.
Holy shit.
It's like, look, unholy magics. It's good that we did this.
At the very least, better than.
Is it possible to get any kind of research on this? Some samples to analyze later. What exactly was the poison?
Yeah, you can grab the arm and try to take some samples before it dilutes too much. You grab the knife and you try to take a couple of swabs of whatever was on it.
Yeah, I'm going to be. Yeah, and as before, I'm going to be focusing on the social damage control.
It's just chaos. It's pure chaos in there. People scream. There's blood everywhere on the ground. People are slipping and sliding in it. People are screaming, hollering. Somebody went over and puked in the corner at the sheer brutality of it. Somebody's trying to wake the servants up to go clean shit. Tiberius looks unperturbed by all of this. He is in a zen state at the moment.
Labian is almost disappointed there weren't any dead bodies.
But
true capitation right now.
you know, I'm going to look to him and say, "Well then, that certainly happened."
The lictors are trying to tell Tiberius that there was some monster with huge fangs in the room, and
Quickly, do the talk.
yeah.
I'm going to. You know what? I'm going to take a different angle since probably I didn't get too far into the this was a technique explanation. I'm going to try and spin it as
Assassin
basically,
did it. Dark illusions.
or the more perhaps a more mundane explanation of there was a lot going on right there. You could be forgiven for getting a bit thrown off and confused at some of the details.
He reaches up and he caresses a necklace at his neck, and it's got the Eagle of Rome on the necklace. And he looks at you guys and he says, "I don't believe you. You are a cursed group. And I curse the day I invited any of you into my home." You saved her life, and for that I will allow you to leave and never return to my house.
Great.
If you have any shred of honor left in you, you will hunt down the 2 monsters that accompanied you and put them out of their misery.
Actually, there's an out of character question. Why did they think Agatha was involved?
Dreadgate.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dreadgaze is a explicitly I'm a monster and I'm here to eat your face discipline.
Very well. I will just, if you'll allow me to just give one last bit of, I suppose, advice. Even if, whether or not we are to blame for this, I hope you will at least understand that it's best to be careful about this later. But yes, we shall leave now.
You forgive me if I don't escort you to the door.
Of course, of course. Well,
That is it for tonight,
maybe
guys.
we should leave. Yeah, maybe we should leave
Yeah.
Rome. And again, it really says something that this was a more successful of our attempts to prevent an assassination.
Well, unfortunately, it did little to, yeah.
We at least stopped the killing in this case.
I wish I could say we stopped the bloodshed, but this happened.
But now we
We stopped the killing so
kind of
far.
screwed up our plans, so.
The assassin is still out there. He might still return. And this
We
time
might
you'll
still
not be
try.
able to.
Yeah, you know what? At this point, leaving Rome is starting to look more and more like a good idea.
Because now we're gonna have to answer to the prince.
I mean, we can't run away from answering to the prince.
I think the best we can do in that regard right now is humbly admit our failure and basically remove ourselves from
Banish
his
ourselves.
sight.
I think we shouldn't accept our defeat at the moment. We should just wait a little bit to see how Prince will react, and if things goes bad, then we can do that. But if things goes otherwise, then we can, banish ourselves without accepting defeat.
Okay.
Holy sh-
We're going to be... Next game, we will hold that aftermath meeting, and then we're going to be doing a 10-year time skip.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Okay.
How much XP do we get?
1 for tonight. And Dennis, I need to talk to you after the session's over. So,
That
Okay.
is all we deserve,
All right.
really.
thank you guys. 2 weeks from tonight, the next game. Okay, guys. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Quite a bit of talking tonight. A lot of strategizing. Once again, tried to keep it from getting too much out of hand. I wanted to push things forward. Be honest, I was a little bit caught by surprise myself at the choice of actions here, but that's a good thing. It keeps things nice and fresh. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Looking forward to hearing from you. We'll try to respond if anybody's anything to say. Once again, thank you. Have a great evening.